Sledgelords, Adam and Danny back. We don't have any guests. We don't have any adult stars to join us this time. It's just me and my bro hanging out, talking about our privilege.
Yeah.
And how to trigger the libs and whatnot. Once again, we're back in it. What's going on?
How to suppress people voting in the South if they're of color.
That's what you've been doing?
Well, that's what we usually talk about. Like, I mean, how are we going to limit a woman's right to choose? How are we going to stop people from coming out to the polls?
How are we going to gerrymander our YouTube audience?
We're really big on that, too. There need to be lines drawn in the sand.
Because I will tell you that I spent a chunk of my morning watching you harassing people with violins on the LA transit system.
Hey, many of whom were white. I want to point out. No, it's true. That's what they're doing down there in the subways. The crime is so high, they're blaring classical music in to scare off the bums. So me and my buddy Leo are like, we're showing up in tuxedos with violins to help, complete the job.
That was a pretty good idea to just sort of play into that, the fact that they're already playing classical music down there and that like a lot of people in LA are complaining about it apparently. I don't think that I know anyone who has ever taken the train, like in recent memory, maybe years and years ago, but like people don't know necessarily in LA, nobody takes the train. It's got such a bad reputation.
You can't. Like if you don't get assaulted on the train, you will probably catch something from sitting in one of the seats. You will catch something that came off a guy with AIDS that was caked onto his Levi's.
Right. Do you ever peep the scenario? I was driving down the highway the other day, and I wish I could remember what highway, but, one of LA's many gigantic highways. And in the middle between the northbound and southbound lane, there is like a train track running along the middle. So the trains drive in between the freeway, like right in the middle. But we drove by like a station where like, people are getting off and like there's no shade. It's just pure sun just blasting down on you. And there's people just sitting there in the middle. And I'm like, this is why this train has such a bad reputation, because think about being forced to just sit there. Every single person going both ways is able to look at you. The sun is blasting down upon you. This is just not people in LA on average are trying to deal with. I don't think.
And that's the absolute least of your problems if you're taking the transit. Like a little bit too much vitamin D compared to getting stabbed while you're just trying to commute to your job at the hospital. Because that's what's happening down there. If you haven't seen the video I did, basically fentanyl addicts are attracted to the subway like moths to flame because they can light up their fentanyl with no wind. No wind comes and blows away the powder.
That's why they're on the train.
According to the LA Times, yes.
Stop it, really?
And they can also pass out down there, and it's relatively safe because there's security around that doesn't do anything, so they know they're not going to get the beat out of them in their sleep and get their Obama phone taken away.
I'm going to be real with you, though. Like, I have some worse memories in New York, though. I remember one time waiting for the train, and sometimes, you're going to take the train in the middle of the night in Queens or Brooklyn, and you're standing there, it might be February, and you're standing there for 45 minutes waiting for the train to come. Whereas during the day, a lot of times it feels like it's like every 5-10 minutes, you're getting another train opportunity. And so I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally it comes. My fingers are freezing off. I was going to get tattooed at like 1 a.m, which why would I ever do that? And
I thought you were going to get. I was trying to imagine how nasty the chick Adam would go to on a train at 2 a.m.
I don't remember which time it was, but I do remember that one time I went to get tattooed by this guy in the wee hours of the night, and that I did have some random girl who lived in that area come over and let me in this guy's bathroom.
I knew it.
So there may have been some of that at work.
Classy, by the way. Really classy.
This is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective.
I'm sure she was marriage material. I'm sure she has a happy family with a worthy husband now.
I think that she probably is smoking meth in some sort of Ozfest parking lot right now. That's my best guess. But anyway,
I got to know, like Ozfest isn't going on right now, right? So it's just
it is in the
fairgrounds. Oh, in the metaverse.
I searched it the other day. Okay. Is Ozfest still going on? It said yes, but only in the metaverse.
Wow. I thought that was a very successful enterprise. I just want to figure out where she's currently smoking meth.
But I think it stopped because of COVID.
Come on, Ozzy.
Because to me, touring is such a big deal. Coachella as a brand is worth billions of dollars, I would assume.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that Ozfest isn't worth that much? Like, to me, that's a no-brainer. That's a brand name that has been being grown since the 90s, right?
Yeah. And now I think people are they're raking it in on tours right now. Now's the time because everybody was cooped up. And I guess I heard the Red Hot Chili Peppers just did record numbers, these newest couple tours after COVID. I don't know if that goes for everybody, but it seems to make sense.
Nostalgia is big.
Nostalgia's huge right now.
Whereas I feel like there is not that much modern music that has that kind of appeal. Like it does exist, but it's much less. There are very few like popular rock bands that are like currently making music. Yeah. Whereas, you know, me and my girl went to see John Mayer the other day.
Ooh, that's a bold move on your part.
I don't think I filled you in on this, but we went to see John Mayer in Inglewood, and you know, casually filled 18,000 seats.
How casual was it? He didn't like promote it or anything?
I mean, I'm sure he promoted it and stuff, but
he was just like, just, you know.
It was like a one-man show. It was just him on stage.
What, no production?
I mean, there was like a monitor that's like showing him, filming him from different angles and stuff, but nobody else was ever on stage with him at that time, which is kind of amazing to me.
So he needs a band.
No band.
He needs a backing band, though. That's where we come in.
It's like this was the theme of the tour. Oh, yeah. Maybe John Mayer would be happy to do vocals for us.
Dude, John Mayer's got a wicked sense of humor. I think he'd like to join us, dude. He's dope.
But I feel like too. John Mayer has been like going his entire life just trying to not make offensive jokes because of the fact that he knows his whole career could just disappear if he was his true self.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
I told you about the white nationalist penis joke thing
that he made.
Yeah.
This sounds really familiar. Hit me with it one more time.
So 2010, he did like a Playboy interview.
Yeah.
And he made multiple remarks that realistically probably seemed funny as hell in the moment, but were widely perceived as racist.
Remind me of the joke. I think we talked about this last Sledgelords.
What was it on that Sledgelords? Because I can't remember which episode, if I talked about it with you or not, but basically like he said that he's attracted to all races, but that his penis is basically a white supremacist.
Which is hilarious, but it's an insane thing for a pop star to say.
Exactly.
Insane thing for a pop star to say. But it wouldn't be
that funny if some random comedian said it. It's only really funny because when you hear it, you know that John Mayer is not supposed to be saying things like that, right?
It definitely makes it funnier. That my body is a wonderland. Probably like Wally's tuning up his Martin is like, hey, my penis is a white supremacist, baby.
Because the other day, I know you're a fan of all these old-timey comedians and whatnot, but the other day I listened to Joe Rogan interview Howie Mandel for like 2.5 hours, which if you people at home are hearing me say that, you're probably thinking like, what? Why the fuck would you watch that for 2.5 hours? But I get massages every 3 weeks.
Does Lena know about these?
She does.
Okay.
It happens in the comfort of my own home. I have a guy, very, very strong, strapping young buck.
Okay. No, now I just think you're homosexual.
I am gay. He comes through and he gives me massages and he's super good at it, super strong. But the thing is that if there's not a podcast playing, he's going to talk to me. And I'm not trying to talk. I'm just trying to get the massage.
Just trying to get your massage.
So the moment he walks in, boop, Spotify, press play, podcast bumping.
Yeah.
That way he won't talk to me. So a lot of times have to sort of pick something in a hurry. Most recent episode of the JRE at that time was with Howie Mandel, clicked it. And just, I'm hearing it coming from him that he holds back a ton in order to hold on to all of these corporate opportunities that he gets in terms of being on TV and everything like that. He's told Joe straight up, I have a mega offensive sense of humor and I can't make those kind of jokes because I'm not trying to lose out on movies and opportunities, all these kinds of things. And Joe's kind of like, God damn, bro, you should just do it. And I'm thinking the same thing. But then he said that even with his somewhat, vanilla style of comedy, it's not like I watch a lot of fucking Howie Mandel.
He says he's filthy on stage. I've heard him say he's filthy on stage, but you can be filthy on stage and still know the jokes aren't crossing corporate lines.
Yeah.
Like you can make shit jokes and piss jokes. As long as you're not making like anti-trans or racist jokes, you're probably good.
It would be hard to get canceled for something that you said in a comedy club basement. As opposed, like if there's a shitty iPhone camera angle of it, people aren't going to hold you in your jokes as to that high of a standard. But Howie Mandel, I don't know. It's just like it sounded kind of sad when he was just talking about it. I'm like, damn, that would be me if I had these kind of corporate opportunities, or maybe it wouldn't be. But once you get into that world, you can't really. You kind of just have to play the game. But he said that he has like studio executives and people that he works with on the corporate side telling him that he has to apologize to people, like not publicly. He has to like give somebody a call behind the scenes to apologize in order to like maintain the good graces of his career.
Who's he apologizing to?
He's
for
like
what?
65. I don't know. Like you make a Jewish joke, so you have to call up a rabbi and just apologize to some random rabbi.
What really bothers me about that is just the human nature. Clearly, humans never have enough if Howie Mandel still doesn't feel secure enough in his wealth to do whatever the fuck he wants. Because he must be worth, what, like 30, 40 mil? Isn't that fuck you money?
He's worth enough that he should probably not have to care. But what's he on? The Voice? Or
he's on one of those gigantic network talk shows.
America's Got Talent. They're paying you, I don't know, $5 million a year to host this show.
Plus, when you go on tour, all these moms in the middle of the country know who you are based on that show. So you're making 150 grand a night selling out a giant theater.
And you, for example, like to compare to him, it's such a different situation because, like, for you, it behooves you to be confrontational and aggressive and to get into situations that might be controversial. Whereas with Howie Mandel, it's like, oh yeah, I could make this fucking Holocaust joke on stage at this club, but maybe I'm going to lose out on $10 million this year.
Yeah,
it's gotta be tough.
Yeah, his fucking hanger-on daughter of his. He's got to make sure he's looking out for her.
Oh, he does. He does a podcast with his daughter now.
Yes, yeah. She's got to go to USC, and she's probably going to need a trust fund because I don't think her career is going to go too well.
She does go to USC?
I'm just assuming so. I'm assuming any showbiz parent in Los Angeles has to put their kid through USC, and then they also have to bribe USC to get the kid in. So that's like another 300 grand. On top of the tuition.
Yeah, I don't know where his kid is at in life, but I feel like I can't imagine doing a podcast with my 20-year-old daughter. It just feels like it would be kind of like what have you done to deserve that?
Yeah.
You haven't worked your way up. You're just going to get the claims of you being a Nepo baby thrown at you, right?
Yeah. Who else is doing that right now? Who's the Hispanic comedian who has a show with his daughter too? There's a big Hispanic. What's that? George Lopez? George Lopez has a sitcom with his daughter, too. And, dude, good for these girls.
At least the sitcom's fake.
Yeah.
A podcast of you, really having a conversation with your kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it works for them. Maybe I'll think differently about when I get older. But to me right now, it just kind of feels like, is this the only way that you can really have a relationship, is doing it on camera? I don't know.
And what are they talking about? So, Teresa, how was it when I gave you 20 grand for allowance last month? How was that?
Right.
How was going to the most expensive steakhouse in town with all your spoiled cunty friends?
Yeah, I wonder what they do talk about.
Adam Carolla, because I went on Adam Carolla.
I watched some of that.
He's the fucking man. But he got into it with her over hygiene because Adam Carolla doesn't believe in soaps and shampoos, and she went after him. And Howie's like a germaphobe. I like Howie. I don't mean to talk shit about him and his family, but just the idea of doing a podcast with your daughter is kind of fun.
He doesn't like soap or shampoo
Adam
at all?
Carolla? Yeah, Adam Carolla has a bunch of just weird beliefs that he's just stood by for decades. One of which is he showers by swimming around in his pool, and he doesn't use soap or hand sanitizer or shampoo.
At all?
I'm not going to say at all.
Did he visibly or did he nasally stink when you met him?
No, I shook his hand. Really? I mean, I also would probably eat Adam Carolla's shit, so maybe I was a little biased, but he came off very clean.
I'm going to be honest with you. When I go in my pool, I don't feel clean after. I feel like I need a shower.
And maybe he's got a special combination of chlorine.
I was thinking that too.
Because any healthy amount of chlorine, you feel kind of gross after getting out of the pool.
Chlorine on your body is the whole reason why you have to take a shower after you. I'm very disturbed by that mental idea because I've been dirty as hell. Worked out already, did an hour of cardio, and then my girl, I come back. My girl's like, come in the pool. We're all hanging out in the pool. Yeah. I'm sweating my ass off. I hop in the pool. I feel grosser after that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel when I'm in a pool, I feel like if I don't take a shower, there's a chemical coating that is eating away at my skin minute by minute.
Yes.
And I might get cancer if I don't get in a shower.
It might get into my dick hole.
That's, for a guy who does porn, that's a strange phobia.
Well, I just feel but I'm quite protective of my dick hole because I've felt pain emanating from my dick hole multiple times in my life. And I don't know, something about that.
You want to tell us the source of that pain, Mr. Chlamydia?
Yeah, chlamydia, gonorrhea. Mostly those.
I thought you were going to beat around the bush, but Adam's an honest man. You want me to tell you about my fiasco coming in this morning?
Oh, yeah, I love this. Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so Adam says we're going to do a reaction video. Mm-hmm. I'm down. I get here. I thought it's going to be me, Adam, Flacco, chuckling at a big lady tumbling down some stairs. I get here, though, and Josh tells me, first of all, it's kind of early. I haven't had my coffee yet. I'm in a foggy state of mind. Josh tells me, oh, yeah, we're going to sit you next to Almighty Suspect, and Adam's not going to be here. And I go, the Almighty Suspect who's been calling me a racist and saying he doesn't fuck with me on
I didn't know
podcasts.
This. Somehow I missed this. I thought that everybody got along well here. I didn't know that there would be anything to get past.
So there was one podcast where basically it was 4 hosts saying that I was a racist and not a very good person, while Josh pushed back.
Who else was saying it? Oh, was it on the news?
You know, Lush did a little bit. Lush, like...
Shocker.
Dude, he was saying, like, just videos of mine that were clearly not racist. Lush was saying they were kind of suspect, but...
That's like his whole thing.
Okay, and then I guess that's what Josh told me, was that, like, Almighty, that's sort of his thing, too. Is he just... And that's sort of the nature of The Office, is just taking a bold stance on somebody and doubling down on it. But for 10 minutes, I told Mikey and I told Josh, I was like, dude, I don't feel comfortable, like, telling zingers over Walmart videos with a guy who thinks I'm a terrible person who hates black people.
I don't blame you at all for having that feeling at all, yeah. I didn't know that this was going to be... How did you get past it, though? Did you have an actual conversation about it, or you just kind of...
So I walked back here, and I had my iPad out, and I was just going to, like, watch comedy on my iPad, and I was like, dude, I feel like a huge pussy right now, being at the far end of the building while these guys go do their content, which is, like, their job, and I'm throwing a fit. So I just walked back in there, and I saw Almighty in the lobby of the building, and I was like, dude... I'm going to quit being a fucking pussy. And I just gave him a hug, and he was like totally cool.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And then we went in there and we like fucking, dude, when you just have like match energy with somebody face to face, like it's humans, we're social creatures. Like the respect just kind of comes. Like once he and I were making fun of an obese woman on the Whatever podcast together, you know, she became the enemy and we became friends.
She or he.
It's really... It was what I'm saying, Adam, is that fat phobia trumps racism.
Well, there's a big difference between calling somebody racist like on a podcast versus calling them racist to their face as well.
Yeah.
You know, one is content versus like and what happens on camera is way different than what happens off camera as well. And there's been plenty of times where I've been in that situation where you're basically like where you're like, people are just saying things on camera, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, you don't believe this.
Yeah.
You are not actually a person who feels this way. It's just because of the camera, you feel like you have to hop into this shit.
Which I respect. I've kind of lost that instinct. Like, I think I'm too big of a pussy to just go full Howard Stern and just slander various people, other than Howie Mandel's daughter. I guess we were comfortable doing that. But that's a safe move, you know. She's not going to pull a drive-by. But I kind of respect Almighty and guys like him who just are going for it for content, which I do in a way. I'm done beefing with other creators. I don't like how that feels anymore.
I don't like that shit either. It's just, it feels like such a waste of time.
Yeah.
But then you feel kind of hypocritical if you're talking about other people's lives and then trying to avoid talking about your own or your own issues with people. Sometimes that kind of, because the people who are able to produce content the most efficiently and the most consistently are people who are able to basically denounce huge swaths of the public, you know, like the Republican, like a Steven Crowder type who is able to get on camera and just absolutely malign the left and talk about these trans people and these activists and these feminists. And that's just kind of like what he does day in, day out. And if you really want to be like a consistent content creator, having people to shit on kind of feels like the most consistent thing you need. At least in the right-wing media, which I pay a bit of attention to, even though I don't really love a huge percentage of the characters involved. Are you following the Steven Crowder divorce?
Yes, I am. But also, just on that note, it's also the easiest thing to do when you're just hating, because all you have to do is react. Like Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro, who I actually really like Ben Shapiro, but they just get to, the other people make the content and they write the script and just do it from the comfort of their office, which is an easier form of content creation, I think, than actually making your own content. I am following was it a Ring doorbell clip of Steven Crowder, who's already, he tried to slander the Daily Wire.
Oh, and the Daily Wire is working overtime against him, which is, I'm pretty sure that's why this shit is all coming out in this way. I'm pretty sure that like the Daily Wire had a secret meeting with Steven Crowder's ex-wife or current wife, and that they are absolutely teaming up.
Yes. Yeah, because what happened with the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro's conservative news brand, which is
a titan.
It's
huge.
It's a titan, especially because it's just acceptable enough to still be on YouTube. They do brush up against YouTube TOS routinely. Matt Walsh right now, I just got demonetized by YouTube, but they have that reach of a mainstream YouTube platform, and they're huge on there, and then they also have their pay site. Steven Crowder and them had some sort of contractual falling out, and Steven Crowder like pre-registered a URL for like Stop Big Con. So he already had plans in the works to try to attack them before he came out and did it publicly.
And you realize like what happened is that basically they offered him like $50 million over the course of 5 years. And then he came out on his show, didn't name them, and basically just talked all this shit about this bullshit offer that he got. And then everybody figured out it was the Daily Wire. Everybody figured out that this guy's expecting more than $10 million a year. Everybody's fucking amazed. And his main complaint about the Daily Wire's contract was that it said that if any of his social platforms got deleted or demonetized or whatever, that would affect his pay, which, of course, if you have a YouTube channel and that's where the vast majority of people are finding out about your message, then, of course, if they aren't able to run advertisements on that, then how the fuck are they supposed to recoup their $10 million a year?
Yeah, which is just what happened to Matt Walsh. That shows you how susceptible those hosts are to getting demonetized, too.
My whole thing is, like, I looked at Crowder's YouTube channel yesterday, and it seems like when he does this show that he does, like, a few times a week, maybe 5 times a week when he's, like, really rolling, they're getting, like, 200,000, 300,000 views per stream.
Yeah.
I haven't actually, like, really watched enough to know how many advertisements he manages to slip in on average, but it feels like that's not enough to earn $10 million a year. Now, I'm sure the Daily Wire could afford to like maybe take a loss on whatever they're paying him just because they are clearly very well funded and they're trying to build this massive conservative brand. But I was a little taken aback by just the sheer dollar amount right there.
He does have some videos pop off. His Change My Mind series, those can hit 5, 6, 7 million views. He also, one thing I really like about Crowder is occasionally he does an investigative journalist piece where he infiltrates Antifa. He did one where he made himself, he put on heavy makeup to make himself look like an obese woman. And then he started billing himself as a fat activist. And I think he won some sort of award from like a formal fat activist organization.
Wow, I didn't see that. That sounds amazing.
It's pretty genius.
Yeah.
He'll do shit like that, which you just have to fucking respect the guy.
Yeah, I've been spending a lot more time just like watching other people's content and sort of contemplating what the future of content is going to be or what I should be putting my time towards and everything. And especially because I'm getting married and going on vacation for 3 weeks afterwards, it's like I've just been kind of trying to create more space in my head to be like, okay, what is everybody else doing? Like what might be the future in terms of making content and stuff? Because there are so many things that I think about that people were doing 4 or 5 years ago on YouTube that like barely exist now. All those daily vloggers.
Daily vloggers.
I used to be a daily vlogger.
Do you think daily vlogs would hit if you brought them back though? Because I feel like putting out a video every day could just juice the algorithm for you.
I was just watching Casey Neistat talking about it with Andrew Schultz, and I mean, the way he talks about it just really illustrates how fucking difficult it is to do daily content because, I mean, most people, him included, you live like relatively, you know, most of your days are pretty much the same. Like the way that my day was up until now and really including now was basically the same as like every other day that I've lived for the past couple of years, which is like wake up, work out, hang out with my kid, make breakfast, did a meeting or two in my back house.
3 hours of TikTok.
Yeah, I don't really look at that anymore. So you can retire that, you fucking asshole. But and then I drive here. I talk to the guys in the lobby. This does not sound like much of a vlog, right?
Yeah,
Unless you really got some shit to talk. Like what? There needs to be some spontaneity, something excited. You know, I come from doing those BMX vlogs.
Yeah.
To their credit, you're going out in public every day, and there's a lot of things that could happen when you're going out at the skate park or you're riding around the streets all the time. But like when you look at Casey Neistat, like he was kind of like forced to constantly find new and exciting things because otherwise there's not going to be a vlog. And he did 800 in a row.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
I read about his schedule when he was doing it, and he basically wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
Probably neglecting his family.
Oh, big time.
Around the clock.
But one thing that he knew from early on is that he knew that he did not want to go for sort of like extreme thumbnail type stuff. He didn't want to play into drama, or he didn't want to like do the kind of thing that all the YouTube vloggers do where they say like, we're moving out of New York. And then it's like, oh, we went to Connecticut for the weekend, or, you know, like all these insane titles and stuff like, but he was able to avoid all that because he's this amazing storyteller that's so good with cameras and stuff that he was able to just make these incredible videos. But yeah, listening to him talk, this is the other thing too, is like making TikToks. I've gone through little phases where you make a TikTok a day for, you know, a week. And it just feels like making a TikTok for 60 seconds out of your day is so much more reasonable than making a fucking 10-minute YouTube video, you know? Like, it's just, because it's never going to go viral on YouTube.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really go outside of your circle
Doing a
for
vlog?
the most part. Doing vlogs. Very rarely.
I've been toying with this. I like that you're doing a deep dive into other forms of content creation and thinking about a strategy for the future. I've been thinking about that a lot too, because I usually my views oscillate from on the low side about 150,000 to on the high side like 250, 300,000 per video. And over the years I've been back and forth like within those brackets, like the high end bracket and then the low end bracket.
But you're ones that will get 800K or a million. That like will get a normal amount at first and then just start to do better over time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I've thought about doing 2 videos a week to try to break that up, just to try to fuck with the algorithm a little bit, like fucking hit that algorithmic G spot, see if I can get it to favor me a bit. I don't know though. It's tough to change sometimes, and I'm open to it. I'm open to trying new strategies.
The one thing that you have going for you on your channel that I admire, or that I think that you should stick with, is that it's like once a week and you're going to make it the best quality you can.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you could get to 2 a week and still have it be as good of quality or as exciting for the audience. Like, I don't know. I feel like it would almost be a bad idea.
What we would do is we would probably shoot the videos as one and then just edit them together and then just break them in half. Write it so that there was a natural break point in the middle. And so it would be basically the same quality as the once a week video, but it's popping up into people's subscription boxes twice a week, and therefore is more likely to grab a new audience.
I was thinking that a little bit when I was watching yours today. Like, does this need to be a half hour? Like, what would this be like if it was like a 12-minute vlog? I don't know.
Yeah, the half hour is good because we make more money with AdSense, but then also you have higher watch time, which gets the video recommended to more people too. And also, like my standards, some things that I think aren't very good and I want to cut out, the fans really like. Like my standards for what's good content are sometimes unnecessarily harsh.
Interesting. Yeah, but when you watch somebody like who really makes like super high quality vlogs, like Mike Malak does like a really nice weekly thing, Nelka Boys for the most part, all those kind of guys in those circles and stuff. And sometimes you're looking at it and you're just taken aback by like, holy shit, they filmed so much to get this 10 minutes. And it doesn't feel like they wasted any of my time. And that's not really how I approached YouTube from early on, because early on it was like, no, daily. You need to do daily vlogs, or if you're going to do interviews or podcasts, you need to do as frequently as possible. Whereas like that mentality of like, I'm going to get on a schedule and I'm going to like have the schedule allow for me to like be sane. But I feel like your schedule is it's pretty tough to maintain your sanity when you're like having to film this video, because most of your shit involves traveling as well.
Yeah. No, it's definitely this weekend, for instance, we went up to San Francisco, knocked out 2 videos, and then I managed to go party with some friends too, which was good for blowing off steam. But
describe partying.
Dude, I was fucking drinking, bro.
Drinking and fucking, or just drinking?
Dude.
Woo!
Fucking.
I don't know.
Having 2 videos in the can though is fucking money.
Oh yeah. Great feeling.
No, I was just drinking.
When I'm walking around with 15 podcasts in the back pocket, oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
I could take a couple weeks off.
Yeah. That's how I deal with stress.
Yeah.
For me, it's a victory, though, to get 2 vlogs, because it's hard to shoot 2 vlogs in a week that feel like people aren't going to be, I don't know about this one here. This one's not up to snuff.
Does the burnout start to set in, though? Because you're very involved in the editing as well, right?
Sometimes it does. Yeah, dude, I've had to start meditating and do all sorts of like psychological shit to not be fucking stressed out.
I think about your morning routine all the time.
Do you? Yeah, you want some of this, bitch?
No, because like I have a kid, so I don't know how the fuck it would work. You waking up and doing a seance and fucking meditating for 3 hours and all that stuff, and I'm just like, holy fuck, I could not do that.
Yeah, you're gonna snap one day because of it too.
You think I need the meditation? I meditate here and there. What if it's like a 10-minute thing?
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
That's valid.
How long you meditate?
15, dude.
Oh, okay.
I'm no fucking
There's a Sam
Dalai
Harris
Lama
meditation thing that's like 10 minutes. If you type in Sam Harris meditation, it comes up on YouTube. I just always do that.
Whenever I pull up Sam Harris content, it's to help me hate Muslims more.
That's the duality of Sam.
I felt like I needed an edgy joke there. It had been a while since I'd said something objectionable. Yeah, Sam Harris, like, well, the Islamophobia accusations I think are bullshit. What did he got on Lex Friedman for having Kanye on the podcast? Wasn't that the new thing that people were attacking Sam Harris for being like too big of a pussy on?
I actually kind of, even though I was going to have Kanye on that same week. I don't really, I don't think Sam's wrong. I think that Sam is right. That like, what is the point of having Kanye on your podcast? It's to make money and to get views, right? Because he's during that time period, everything he was saying on camera was so fucking deranged. I listened to him on that Lex one a bit, and it was terrible. Lex drives me crazy with this fucking love shit. Just always talking about love and the power of love. And it's like, bro, what are you fucking talking about? How are you so smart and you feel the need to pad all of your conversations with this love talk?
See, that's why you're going to snap eventually. Maybe in Italy. Maybe you're going to shoot up the entire fucking wedding party.
But that's the most common critique, I think, of Lex Friedman is that weird ass, because he makes fun of himself for it now. Because I listened to Sam Harris do an episode recently about, you saw the same one. Okay.
I don't mind the love stuff at all. The only thing I don't like about Lex Friedman podcasts is it is a rare event indeed when I can finish one, just because they are so long. I just listened to the ChatGPT AI one because I feel like that's something we need to be on top of as people, investors, and workers, whatever.
AI is this year's NFT.
It kind of is. Because you're fucking right, dude.
People talk about it so much, and I have to stop myself, just like I kind of had to stop myself from reading all these fucking articles about NFTs at a certain point. I have to kind of stop myself from clicking on every article about AI that I see or every podcast that pops up, because there's so many people who want to talk about this. I feel like I have a decent frame of reference. I don't know, but you also just can't listen to anything without fucking hearing about the AI element and things.
Dude, you're so right. With NFTs, people are like, this is the future, bro. Yeah. It starts with Bored Ape, but then it's everything. They're everywhere. Yeah. And now NFTs being practical in our daily lives, I don't know when that's going to happen, when the banks collapse and everything is done on the blockchain. Maybe there'll be more practical use for NFTs. But right now, it's fucking stupid ass Bored Apes.
We're talking
to be the peak.
We're talking about getting rid of our CryptoPunk in the near future.
You guys have a CryptoPunk?
Yeah.
Did you break even on it? Did you lose money?
We lose a little bit.
Do you guys have you have joint custody of your CryptoPunk, you and Lena?
Yeah. It was $150K or something.
You bought it pretty high up then, huh?
Yeah, but then it was 400 a few months later.
Yeah.
And now it's 150 or 140. We'll probably lose a little bit of money, but not much.
You greedy piece of shit. You thought it was going to go higher than 400K?
I told her I would sell it $1 million. But deep down in my head, if it got to $1 million, I don't know if I would have actually sold. I think I might have told her no, we need to hold on to it forever.
We'll sell it at 3.5.
God, if I could sit here and look you in the eyes and tell you that I made $400,000 off of NFT, that would be pretty offensive, huh?
I'd be pretty upset because you're the last guy who needs an extra 400K from a JPEG.
I could use a 400K. 400K is always going to feel good.
See, that's the thing. You're Howie Mandel, dude. It's never enough.
Except with NFTs. Wait, this is what I wanted to get to, though, is how did you feel about the Ring camera footage of Steven Crowder's domestic interactions with his wife? Because on one hand, he doesn't seem like the nicest guy. He seems like he might be a little bit depraved. But at the same time, there's something very nasty to me about leaking conversations that are taking place in somebody's home environment. And apparently that may have taken place at his parents' house or her parents' house. And
she went back and got the security footage.
Or I think they're trying to act like the family are the ones who put it out. All kinds of nasty shit happens in this divorce world, And so I don't know. But then at the same time, if we were to take the nastiest relationship-based argument that you ever had in your life, I feel like it would probably look worse than what Steven Crowder was saying on camera there.
I've always been a pretty big pussycat with girls.
Really?
That's one area of my life where I have nothing to worry about. There's going to be never an accusation coming out that I hit a girl or even raised my voice at one.
Really?
But even what I saw from Steven Crowder didn't seem that bad. He didn't seem like a great guy.
But he did say, "I will fuck you up."
That
was the one thing.
I didn't hear that. I saw it in the comments. It wasn't audible to me.
I don't think I heard it either. I think I just had to hear Destiny talking about it afterwards. Yeah.
Did this all start from a random commenter who just said that he said, "I will fuck you up"?
I don't know. Or maybe I just read it in an article, but I believe that
because we both couldn't hear it.
He was quoted as saying that, I think. But also, okay, the weird thing, like why does he have a truck and she doesn't have a car and he's worth all this money, and like
that's kind of weird.
They have to decide who's going to be using the car at any given time. But now, saying all that, I also think it's pretty fucked up that we even have access to this and that we're even able to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I would hope that if my relationship went sour, that we wouldn't be leaking fucking Ring camera footage of each other, right?
I'm pretty anti people's privacy being violated.
Yeah.
Like the idea of people leaking personal text messages during a beef, DMs, audio, like illicit audio recordings, which Steve can't complain too much because he recorded the lawyer for Daily Wire during their business negotiations surreptitiously.
Okay.
But I am anti that shit, dude. Like, I value privacy, and I couldn't fucking imagine somebody leaking a camera feed of my arguments.
But it's like one of the most consistent things I've seen in my adult life is that whenever there are divorce proceedings,
Nice fills, you hipster fuck, by the way.
Is this hipster shit?
It's pretty hipster, dude.
Is it?
It's real hipster.
My girl has this terrible fucking problem going where she wakes up every morning and just orders the shit.
It's delicious.
It's so good.
It's like the wokest company in the world, though.
Are they?
They hire you based on how like neurodivergent and non-binary you are.
The fuck up,
I'm
really?
pretty sure, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the only, like, they don't even look at your resume.
I've never been in one.
They look at your haircut, your skin color, and they try to guess what kind of hole you like to fuck.
Really?
And that's what gets you the job.
Wow.
Dude, it's when you go in there, it's like just pride flags and just trans people and just people of color and BIPOCs. And
See, I'm used to anything with a Z instead of an S normally being at least sort of based. Like, you know, like,
give me an example.
like buy a rap album from the 90s and go look at the song titles and they're always going to have a
Like
Z.
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
They replace S's with Z's. And so when I looked at Phil's coffee, I thought, oh, this shit is based as fuck. It's got a Z.
It's like basically Black Rifle coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like veteran
I
owned.
wonder how that would do in LA.
Black Rifle?
Yeah.
Dude, I think there's probably a lot of conservatives. People in Bel Air would they'd pull into the parking lot with their Bernie Sanders bumper sticker, look over their shoulder, and then fucking go right into Black Rifle.
Maybe if Black Rifle Coffee could initiate some sort of invisibility cloak so that you could go in there without anybody seeing you.
Dude, there are so many covert conservatives in LA for sure. But continue, dude. I interrupted you.
I went to Black Rifle Coffee in Nashville.
I went to one in Savannah, Georgia.
I saw that it existed. I'm like, oh my God, I've seen that online. I have to try it.
Yeah. I bought a t-shirt.
What was I talking about before?
You were talking about divorce proceedings and stuff.
Oh, I always see like the gnarliest shit happening between people, like people that you thought had like a very respectful relationship and that they seemed like they were a really solid, tight-knit group. And then you just hear about the terrible shit that happens between them. And it's kind of shocking to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough, especially for a conservative influencer who they're supposed to be like the arbiter of moral value.
Right.
Like those guys, that's Ben Shapiro. He can be very controversial in his speech because you know he's clean as a whistle at home. Like he tucks his kids into bed, reads them the fucking Torah, makes love to his wife through a sheet.
He just had the most like timid fucking life ever. So you know that you're not really going to find anything too good on him.
Yeah. And I love Ben Shapiro. I listen to his show all the time. I think it's really, really good.
Really?
I'm into it. Like, dude, his writers, and a lot of it's probably him, but like the fact that it's not just, he aggregates the relevant news stories of the day, but he also weaves them together into a political argument.
See, this is what I need to do is I need to actually watch like a full episode of the Ben Shapiro show, because this is how you really start to wrap your head around how other people are thinking about their content. And the thing with the right is that like there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of like these people like conservative commentators are just putting out like an episode a day. That's a huge fucking challenge to find that much shit to talk about. And then when you realize that there's like I was just reading this profile of Tucker Carlson. He's got 15 people working on his staff, like finding video clips, putting together segments and stuff. And so they said that he does hop in the sauna for like an hour or however long before he does his show so he can really think about what he wants to talk about. But then he begins every day by just sending an email to the team saying, this is what I want to talk about and this is the guests that I would like to have on. But now Tucker Carlson's whole thing has kind of been, we're not going to know what him making content independently is going to look like for some time, but you know that he's just posted up in Maine. He's in Maine.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be near anybody. He doesn't have to be in New York City or anything like that. I mean, that's the fucking dream right there. He's getting paid almost $20 million a year. and he doesn't even have to live in a city. He lives in Maine. Like, he must have security posted up. They said it was like the most random ass area.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what I really admire, I know you admire this too, is like that level of delegation that the show can be that good. Ben Shapiro show can be that good every day. Like, that is a well-oiled machine in terms of you're a researcher, you guys are writers, you're holding my cue cards, you're doing the technical side and queuing up all my visuals to react to. Like, those guys are... me being a workaholic in a way is a form of laziness.
Right.
Because I'm doing the same thing over and over, stressing myself out, instead of realizing that, like, you need to try new shit. You need to delegate. You need to expand the team. You need to hire new people here. You're good at that. You're pretty good at that.
I'm okay at that. But like the idea of hiring a writer to kind of like think on your behalf, that's very interesting to me, because I've almost never talked about anything on camera that I didn't like basically learn about myself through Twitter or social media or whatever it was. The idea of having like a whole team of 20 people and then somehow their intelligence or their experience or their viewpoint all gets sort of like funneled through you because they're helping you to put together ideas. I mean, I always thought of YouTube and content creation as being this very one-to-one thing where it's like I get on camera and I talk about how I feel about shit. The idea of having like a big fucking squad helping you to put together. But I mean, you would have to be such an incredible broadcaster to be able to put together like a tightly knit 45-minute or hour-long podcast per day of you. And it's not really a podcast for the most part, because like that's what I hear about with Steven Crowder is that like he's really, really heavy about the writing. So like he has a team of writers. So like, you know, Brian Callen from The Fighter and the Kid, he's now on Steven Crowder's shit. And I've like seen some examples of people pulling up of like, look how different this is. Cause he clearly like has some jokes in front of him that were written for him as a result.
Callen does?
I think so, because, you know, Steven Crowder believes in this, that it's like, he doesn't want you to just be on your own when he tosses you a subject and says like, hey, what do you think about this? He wants you to already have some jokes written down or some pieces of thought so that you are not just diving in. I don't know.
The show that used to do that, I don't know if you ever saw it, Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn.
I don't know.
It's a pretty good like predecessor for what you're talking about now. Colin Quinn's like a great Irish, just fucking Mick comedian. But it was in New York, and he had like some of the best comedians of all time on the show, like Greg Giraldo, Patrice O'Neill, Jim Norton. They would sit around, bring up current events, and then they would go around the square, and everybody had pre-written jokes about the events, but they hadn't shared them with each other. So some would fucking kill, some would bomb, but the show moved like lightning. Subject, joke, 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 joke. Subject, joke, 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 joke. And there was some riffing in between, but it was very well prepared like that. It sounds similar.
And so if the joke lands bad, is it kind of like you can tell by everybody's reaction?
But it's great because it's just like they're a bunch of frat dudes. That was their attitude. They weren't like literally frat dudes, but dude, they just piled on each other if somebody bombed. Like they're just like, you fucking nothing, like over there trying to make a fucking dick joke and fucking stuttering over your words. You suck.
That does sound pretty funny.
Boo each other. It's one of the best comedy shows of all time.
I remember going to a writing room one time because my friend Catfish was on he was on some fucking, it was on ESPN or something. They had like an action sports like daily talk show thing before they realized that nobody wanted to watch this. This is probably 2010 or something.
Okay.
And I go with him to the office and we're sitting around in a room with a bunch of like comedic writers, and clearly this is like a day job for a bunch of them, where there's the topics that Catfish was going to talk about on the show that day, and they've got jokes on deck. Like
they must have hated Catfish, like this untalented fuck.
But Catfish is such a dude who like would act like he was too good to say somebody else's joke, but then he totally gets in there, and I'm just listening to him just reiterate the jokes that they had already given him, and I'm like, oh my god, like but some of it was like pretty good, like a better joke than I'm probably going to think of on my own. And when you're actually sitting there and the fucking pressure's on you, like what are you gonna say? It's a lot easier to just sort of say the pre-written shit, right?
Dude, I've been like being in comedy clubs now. I see how big of sociopaths so many stand-up comedians are.
Really?
That's a stereotype that comedians are super selfish, super career oriented. They must have hated some semi-dimwit BMX kid like Catfish coming in just like, oh, what's up, dude? Just kind of ignoring them and like just dismissing them and then just reading their hard-written jokes and getting the credit for it. People at home thinking this was Catfish's own brain cranking out the material.
Okay, but I doubt that those people were taking that much pride in the jokes. And then I also feel like in general, they probably wouldn't care. Like, could you imagine yourself, let's say it was a dope offer. Somebody's like, hey, Danny, we're going to give you, I don't know, like whatever would make your fucking fingernails tingle. Like, we're going to give you
this $0.5 million.
We're going to give you,
I'm doing pretty well.
We're going to give, let's scale it down though. We're going to give you 20 grand a month.
Not enough. I'm joking.
And you got to show up at, 10 a.m. and you got to be in this office for like 2 hours, write some jokes, present them to the talent. And that's all you got to do. It's like 2 hours per day, Monday through Thursday, let's say. So it's very like part-time job. You can clearly do whatever the fuck else you're doing. And you're getting paid like a good amount, but you don't get any kind of credit for it and you don't take any kind of pride in it.
Yeah.
Does that sound like something you could do, or does that sound like something that would just crush your soul?
Dude, honestly, I'm pretty bad at sticking to things when there's like no creative fulfillment in it for me. I don't think I'd be able to do that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, 20 grand, I would try it for a little bit.
I was trying to make it enough that like you would want to do it even if it was painful.
Dude, I've heard, so there's a big, in the comedy world too, there are so many stories of great comedians having to work at late night shows and just phoning it the fuck in. Like Anthony Jeselnik did that. Dave Attell did that. They show up, they write one joke a week for the show while just thinking about their stand-up set the whole time they're in there. And I feel like that'd be me too. It's just like, come on, this is stupid. I got a video I got to go make.
Yeah, because if you're spending all your time trying to be genuinely funny on camera, it's just got to be weird writing jokes for people where you know that they're not that invested and you can kind of just phone it in. You don't really have to do all that much and it'll work. Like, you'll still be able to keep your job. It's got to be tough.
Yeah, I'm sure those guys were just doing the bare minimum to make Catfish seem funny while talking about a 360 hard flip. The 360 hard flips are pretty funny looking. If you just think about that physically.
I can't picture that. The whole hard flip thing always confused me. Like what that is.
It's a front side shove it with a kick flip.
It like rolls over your foot. Right?
They can be pretty ugly, or they can be the sickest flip trick there is.
I've seen some like analysis of like if you're doing the hard flip right, how it's supposed to look versus like how to do it the bullshit way.
I've landed 3 hard flips in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
That's 3 more than me, my friend. I never did a kick flip.
They were the ugliest hard flips probably ever done. That analysis you watched would be disgusted.
I saw a video on Jenkum saying that 2013 was the year that broke skateboarding.
The year
everything changed. Flip. Oh, no, the year of the hard flip.
Why?
I don't know, like a bunch of LGBT stuff happened, and I don't know.
This is a pretty right-wing take.
You got to read, no, pro LGBT stuff. Like that was when the first trans skater had a video part and stuff like that. So like, I don't know. It was like kind of weird to see them like really saying like, look at 2013. Look at what an important year that is, because I have no reverence for 2013. I don't remember anything.
I thought at first you were saying like 2013 is when the gays came in and ruined it. They were trying to castrate the AM riders on Spitfire and make them pussies. Like, I don't know.
The thing that stands out to me more than anything is like that is fucked up in the history of skateboarding is when the Baker videos had people doing coke in like motel rooms.
Yeah, the Baker boys, the fucking piss drunks.
I look back at that and I'm like, how the fuck? Like your audience is children. Why would you do that? We got so much shit for putting weed in BMX videos and shit at the time. We never would have thought about putting any kind of like actual hard drugs in there.
But it worked. I remember when I was in 6th grade.
It worked on us. We loved it.
Dude, when I was in 6th grade, I would stencil the Piss Drunks logo all over my notebooks. I thought they were so cool. Like Jim Greco, Andrew Reynolds, Dustin Dolan. Right. Those were the guys. So it worked. I mean, they were on the cover of Rolling Stone. Yeah. They weren't on the cover. It was Stained that was on the cover, but it said, check out skateboarding's punk rock crew. Right. And they had a big article in Rolling Stone about like these guys being rock stars.
I know. And it just seems so fucked up when you think about how young that audience is. Even though it's real, so I get it. And it's not like, I mean, there's not that much pressure on rappers to not talk about lean and pills and shit, right? Like, it's like they're doing it, so what's the difference? But I don't know. I just think of skateboard and BMX as just like younger subcultures, and that shit just seems so foul to like be like showing kids like, oh, this is what it looks like to be snorting coke off a plate in a motel room. And it's so badass that this dude's video part that he worked on for 3 years might only have 20 seconds of B-roll throughout the whole thing, but that's going to be one of the B-roll clips.
Sure.
I don't know.
And then it gets into a kid's head. It's like, oh, that's how you throw a hammer down Hollywood High. I got to do cocaine.
I mean, if I didn't grow up listening to so much rap music, there's a pretty good chance that I would have spared a lot of the brain cells that I lost to opiates and whatnot.
The rap music influenced you negatively?
Definitely.
You seem like you're doing okay.
Yeah, I'm doing all right now.
Your scar looks almost non-existent too.
You can't see it?
That healed up really well. Yeah, you look good, dude.
Think about that the other day.
I was just thinking you look the most handsome you've ever looked on that chair.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's that pre-marriage glow, not gloom. Glow.
Pre-marriage glow. Yeah. You know, a lot of people like get cold feet at the last minute and stuff. Like I had a few people mention that to me. Like, you have any kind of, you know, you getting cold feet? I'm like, no. I'm like very thankful that this is happening. Like it seems like if anything, I should be worried about the other side getting cold feet.
We'll see. You still got a lot of time to get cold feet, dude.
It's like 10 days.
You could, I mean, think about this, dude. What if your plane veered off and you just like told your private pilot, because I know you're taking a private jet.
Hell no.
They're like, hey,
probably costs like $250,000 to fly private to Italy, bro.
Amsterdam. You and I, we could pull some money, go private.
Oh, hell no.
Get a couple whores on the
I will
plane.
never fly private. I didn't even fly first class out there. I got the middle one, the business one. I'm just, first class too much. I'm sorry. Fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I'm just not that kind of person. I'm not trying to be that kind of person. I want to save my money.
Yeah, I've never flown private. Have you flown private?
No.
That's kind of a fantasy. I saw a Learjet take off from an airport today, and I was like, I wonder what fucking rich motherfucker's on that. Because I see Nelk and Steve will do it, flying private all the time.
Right.
I'm going to be on there. I'm going to pull my dick out on that private jet, too. Not in the lavatory.
I've been watching this golf reality show on Netflix. I've never played golf. Never even known someone who played golf besides my dad.
That's impressive. You'd never...
I mean, probably I have, but they don't talk to me about golf, you know?
Flacco doesn't play golf?
I assume he competes in no sports, but...
Well, golf, you can still be not in great shape.
I don't know. I'm just like really intrigued by it because it's a fucking tournament every weekend to like see who's going to be able to like get the highest score or whatever. And it's fucking really engaging. But these guys are the most square motherfuckers on earth. There's one guy who's like, I wish I remember his name, but he's like the freak show of the golf circuit because he wears like bright pink fucking flannel pants or whatever. Yeah, he dresses like a little bit edgier.
He's crazy.
He'll wear like a beanie instead of a fucking traditional golf hat, so everybody acts like he's fucking crazy, bro. But they fly private everywhere. And there's one guy I've been watching this show. I have to keep watching to figure out what happens to him. But I mean, you know, you win a golf tournament, you win like $3 million, $2 million, whatever. This guy has the hottest wife you've ever seen. Smoking hot model chick. And she's kind of like talking about his career. She's like, yeah, like at first he was winning so much and now he just keeps losing. And it kind of makes me wonder like what life is going to be like if he's like not a professional golfer anymore. It's like, you're here because he's a professional golfer. It's your job to hold him down once he's a fucking failure, which is probably going to happen, right?
That doesn't sound good.
You're not just going to be a goat forever.
Yeah, that sounds like a wife who's going to be blowing Phil Mickelson in short order.
Well, I don't even know where these girls come from. Like, where do you meet like the hottest chick on earth as a new golf professional? Because they must be lining up. It's got to be like all these other sports where the girls just like want to be with you so bad.
You know what we should do, dude? We should start a private eye business where we test bitches' fidelity for rich men. Like we have guys who. So here's how it goes.
We're going to use Leo.
We use fucking Leo. Like, if Leo tells us he's got a fucking girlfriend and Leo wants to pay us all the money he has to test whether or not she's faithful, we have like Cristiano Ronaldo lookalikes. We have a guy who looks like Drake, and we fucking like we pop them up in the best booth at like Delilah or something, and we have the fake Drake like summon insert name here's girlfriend into the booth.
If your girl will fuck fake Drake, that's so amazing. As somebody who actually knows this guy.
And then I mean, like if we catch him doing some shady shit in the champagne room, we have a guy with like, and we do it old school, like hard boiled detectives. He's got like he's got to develop the pictures in a dark room and shit. It's like, there's a cloud of smoke that comes out of the camera.
And he has to dash away.
Yeah, you can't do it with an iPhone, dude.
Right.
No like closed circuit surveillance. We do it fucking old school. And then we come in with a stack of fucking pictures in a manila envelope and just throw it on the coffee table in front of you. So there's a lot of suspense before you know whether or not your chick's a dirty whore.
Right. Dude, oh my God, you just made me realize something or remember something. I wish I could tell you who. It wouldn't mean anything if I told you who. But like there's a porn couple that I know. They've been together for long time, I never thought they were going to break up, and a random hairstylist just told me that they broke up. And I was just like, whoa, like, even though it should not surprise me at all at this point in my career, I'm just astonished that you guys seem like you were so happy together and you were both banging other people, and it seemed like it was going to be great, and it didn't work out. I just couldn't believe it. Everything always seems so perfect with this couple.
Maybe there's going to be some Ring doorbell footage that leaks soon. I mean, I will fuck you up.
If they were married, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, did you see what Tucker Carlson got fucking fired for?
The Dominion claims and the texts and that stuff, right? Or was there something else in particular?
The text that they actually found right before they fired him. He was talking to one of his producers, and he was basically talking about a video clip that he had seen of 3 Trump supporters beating the shit out of an Antifa dude, right? And he was saying how when he saw the video, he liked it so much, and in his head, he was thinking, like, I want to see them brutalize this guy, and how he didn't like the fact that he was feeling that way, right? The you know, he sort of had this bloodlust when he was watching this Antifa kid get beat up. And that's not the offensive part. The offensive line that he said in the context of talking about that was, he said, white men don't fight like this. That was his thing. What
were the colors of everybody involved?
I'm pretty sure that everybody involved was white. But that was the thing that was deemed too far gone for Fox, is that he said white men don't fight like this, which it does kind of clue you into a bit of his worldview, which is that, I don't know, I think that the suspicion about Tucker Carlson, because he talks a lot about the Great Replacement, essentially, without necessarily naming it that, and he talks a lot about, you know, just things that make you feel like, is this guy like reading white supremacist websites and papers and stuff? Because a lot of the stuff he says kind of sort of seems to like mirror some of that shit. And even I was reading this New York Times article about Tucker Carlson, and they said that like leaders of the Daily Stormer, these like big white power organizations, basically look at Tucker Carlson as someone who's kind of like smuggling their ideology into the mainstream. But when you read that one line, it sort of makes you realize, like, oh, okay, Tucker Carlson does believe that there is something inherently superior about white people, or even just an expectation that white people should handle themselves a certain way. And I think that connection was probably just a little too much for Fox to take, which is kind of fascinating that was what pushed it over. It was a secret remark that they thought might come out in Discovery in the course of that trial. And I mean, essentially they paid $800 million, I think it was, $1 billion, so that they wouldn't have to have that hard conversation.
Yeah, for people who don't know that, Tucker Carlson and basically Fox News, multiple hosts, made claims about the voting systems and how they might have been subject to rigging during the 2020 election, and that might explain Joe Biden's victory. I don't know the exact details, but basically the company that makes the voting machines sued the network and won to the tune of $800 million. And Tucker Carlson was one of the most responsible guys for pushing those claims that he didn't, it seems, believe himself.
And when you look at his commentary behind the scenes, it's like he was promoting Trump as if he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. But then when you actually look at what he was saying behind the scenes, he was saying this man is a destroyer, or this, you know, basically saying that he thought he was going to be bad for the Republican Party in the long term.
Dude, every time I read the LA Times, I'm just like, okay, this headline is propaganda. Like, they're being dishonest too.
Right.
But because being on the right and being like the most popular television host on the right, people are just going to have, I mean, there's gonna be multiple fucking bullseyes on you at all times.
Yeah, definitely. But that's a big part of Tucker Carlson's message, is basically like, they, meaning the liberals and the media, they think that you're racist and you're not.
Yeah.
So you should fight like hell against them because you are not a racist.
Which is undermined by his text.
Yeah, and the fact that like so many of the things that he says kind of seem to like mirror white power talking points. But I don't know. I would like to read like a real honest defense of Tucker Carlson as well.
I would like to also see I want to see a compilation of everything he's ever said that is a dog whistle to the Daily Stormer crowd, because a lot of what you hear about Tucker Carlson is filtered through left-wing sources saying he's doing those things. I have never consumed a piece of Tucker Carlson content where I've been like, oh, dude, that's too far. That actually is kind of racist. And I never have myself.
I knew we were going to have this conversation today, so that's why last night I was like reading fucking New York Times articles under the covers while my girl slept peacefully right next to me, and I'm just sitting there like...
cock in one hand, New York Times in the other.
But I've had this done to me where I have had, left-wing media powerhouses basically like, come up with a bunch of bullshit to accuse me of being a racist or at least being hospitable to racists. And from my perspective, in those articles, almost nothing that is being said is true.
Yes.
Whereas I'm kind of sitting here reading this New York Times article about Tucker Carlson, and I'm kind of giving the author a good deal of the benefit of the doubt. And I know that that's a mistake. I know that I need to be more skeptical about what I'm willing to believe. And I need to see the other side. The problem kind of being, though, is that, like, are you really trusting the right-wing media to offer like a really fair defense of Tucker Carlson? I don't know who on the right I would really trust to be able to state that case for me.
Yeah, I think the best way to do it is just to consume both sources and then make your own opinion, because the left definitely has a tendency to jump logically. Like Ron DeSantis doesn't want third graders to be indoctrinated into any ideology. He's banning books, is what the left says. Oklahoma makes it so you can't give a 10-year-old puberty blockers, and they're targeting trans children. That's the headline that I just read in the LA Times today. So logically, they always like to fucking play checkers and hop. And that's what it seems to me like they have done to Tucker Carlson in some cases. I didn't see the text you're referring to. I would like to see it in its full context. Because I
can get you the full thing if you want, but
not here.
It is weird because it's like the whole thing doesn't really read as racist, and then that one line reads as racist, and it just makes you wonder, like, okay, so what else do you say behind the scenes?
Yeah, it just, I mean, I was drinking with some of my buddies in San Francisco this weekend, and it was just like four guys I've known for a long time, and we were saying some fucking off-color shit, dude, and it made me realize, like, so the stuff you can do on YouTube is pretty tame. Comedy clubs go off, dude. You can be really offensive in fucking comedy clubs, which is like something I didn't know until I started doing stand-up recently. But four college buddies in a bar, dude, that is fucking offensive. And that's why I sort of give anybody the benefit of the doubt if they're saying something that is being like picked up and just a couple of lines are being used in a news article. Because, dude, like, what if there was a security camera in the taco shop that we were fucking eating in while we were hammered this weekend?
Right. That's one thing that our like current discourse doesn't really allow for, is the idea that people could be joking.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, whenever anyone has ever tried to say anything about you, it's like, he's joking. Like it's a comedic video.
Yeah.
And for me, I have to give him a extremely long leash when it comes to anything that was said under the guise of trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Even if I don't really think it's funny in that moment, like having that conversation of, oh, well, this is offensive and this is not okay. And I don't care if it was a joke. It's not funny. It's not okay to joke around about those things. I don't agree with any of that. I think if anything, we should joke around about as many things as possible. And like, it just feels like such an unfair thing when people are trying to jump all over comedians for not making the right jokes or joking around about the wrong kind of things.
Yeah. No, it sucks, dude. It sucks. Fucking limiting on, basically not these days. If anybody says something really off color, it just makes you fucking laugh that much harder because it's so taboo.
Right. Wait, you're still single?
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going,
saw a leaked photo of you having some food with a certain ex-girlfriend.
How'd you recognize me?
You were wearing on some shit shirt, actually. we gave you some merch one time, and it turns out you wore it a bunch of times.
I wear it basically every time I'm on the show,
even on some dates.
We thank you for asking me about that. Yeah, I did. I did link up with my ex. It was nice, and she actually blew me in the bathroom of Dialogue Cafe. No, I'm joking. But we joked. I was like, it'd be really fucking funny if we like airbrushed my hands to make them look like I was a black dude, and we put a Super Bowl ring on my finger through Photoshop in the story. So then just to like get the trolls who hate me to be like, your girlfriend's fucking Antonio Brown, you fucking loser. Just to create some fake controversy based on that photo she shared, which was just of my hands eating breakfast.
I know, but like, you know how we are. Like if that's out there and it's not specifically being said, hey, just friends, just hanging out as friends, then we're going to read into it at least a little bit.
Yeah, dude, I would say that that being single, wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm like definitively not single anymore, but
so you're wishy-washy.
I'm a little wishy-washy.
You're stuck in the middle.
But stuck in the middle, isn't that
somewhere between in a relationship and out of a relationship?
I mean, other than the one blowjob and dialogue. No, actually, me and I haven't like hooked up or
Was
anything
that really
yet.
a dialogue?
It was a dialogue. Yeah.
I don't know where Dialogue is, but I order fucking breakfast burritos from them almost every weekend.
Well, that is about as white of a problem as you could ever have.
I thought it was a
I don't know
Korean spot.
geographically where the really expensive cafe is, but I like their burritos.
Where is it? I have no idea.
A person of color brings it to me. And
Isn't it in Koreatown?
No, it's in West Hollywood.
Oh.
It's in like the most West Hollywoody West. You go
What
to
race
Dialogue
are the employees? Is it a Korean spot or no?
It's not Korea. It has
okay.
nothing
I don't know
to do
why
with Korea.
I invented that in my head
because you're out of touch, okay?
Yeah,
because you're a guy who just pays people to bring you things you put in your mouth.
Yeah, like Phil's.
Like Phil. Exactly, dude. But, dude, if you go to Dialogue Cafe, I don't mean to make it seem like I'm changing the subject here from a difficult subject of like relinking with an ex-girlfriend, but you will want to punch 80% of the table's occupants in the face when you go to Dialogue Cafe.
Really? It's like that?
It is like the most Hollywood spot. There are people like Mikey, but with more money. Like kind of like hip with like a cool, like an outfit you can tell they put work into, but they have really expensive jewelry and a car they probably can't afford the payments on, and like the newest like hype beast fucking drip. And like they will tell you right away about this business they got going on.
I'm so glad I've been engaging with this place through Postmates exclusively and not in real life, because like every now and then me and my girl go to Erewhon.
Yeah.
Now
the highest tier grocery store in Los Angeles.
For those who don't know, picture if you drive the streets of Los Angeles, you see Ralph's, you see Vons. Those are kind of like normal grocery stores. Yeah. Now you have below that, you have something like Food for Less. You have John's, which is the Armenian bootleg Vons. You might,
I heard of John's.
You don't? You'll see it now that I said it. You're gonna see it. But like, but then you have a bit nicer. Is Gelson's? Gelson's is above those.
Let's break this down. Where's Trader Joe's? Where's Trader Joe's?
But Trader Joe's is inexpensive. They could be. It's actually very cheap, which is weird. They don't jack up their prices like Whole Foods and fucking and Erewhon.
But its branding is above Safeway and Vons.
And it feels very special. And a lot of like celebrities and stuff. When I was interviewing The Game, the rapper who you probably never heard of, he has a Trader Joe's group chat with a bunch of his buddies. Where they send like, oh, you got to get the peanut butter pretzel cakes. You got to like get this. You got to get that. I could not believe it when he told me that.
That is good PR for fucking Trader Joe's. That's fucking sick. Free promotion. But you can go pick up chicks at Trader Joe's,
right?
And you can't go pick up chicks at Albertsons unless you like chain smoking 45-year-old fat chicks.
The demographic is too normy versus where if you go to Gelson's or Whole Foods or Erewhon, you're starting to get into it feels like the club.
Yeah.
Because at Erewhon, let me just put this perspective, people out there. How much does it cost you to go buy a small container of strawberries?
I like to turn to the camera there. That was nice. You're really connecting.
Picture this. I don't know how much it weighs, but I'm going to say that at the average grocery store in the average heart of America, it might be like $4 worth of strawberries. Like a nice little box.
Sure.
Erewhon will gladly charge you $24.
Happily.
For that same fucking thing of strawberries.
Sure.
Now, granted, when you are looking at them, you are kind of like, well, these do look like really fucking good strawberries, but it is 5 times more than or 6 times more than you're used to paying in most of the country.
They're probably organic. They're probably not going to have pesticides on them. A Honduran probably didn't have to die to get those across the border when you buy them at Gelson's.
Right.
Which I don't care about. Some people care about that.
Yeah.
I'd rather pay $4.99 for the ones with blood stains on them.
Bro, it gets worse. These little packets of mangoes that I buy, the dried mango with the chili sauce.
You still buy them, even though they're $38.
She's gotten me hooked on all this shit, bro. And now I realize that if I were to like return to like eating normal fucking food, I don't even know where I would begin, because it's like if I go back to normal ass eggs that aren't like $13 a carton, or I actually have no idea what she pays for those, but like because
how much is a quart of milk?
I don't know, but like it's her anticipation of the wedding has her on this super clean diet, right?
Yeah.
She's eating like $50 worth of steak for a meal.
Yes.
Now she might not eat the whole entire thing, but she's probably eating at least like $35, $40 worth of steak. It's just steak in a fucking package. It's shrink wrap, but it's like the best quality meat ever. And there's a fucking article that came out the other day on some website. You can search it up. It's called like Meet the People Working 3 Full-Time Jobs So That They Can Afford Erewhon. You will not believe that these people are real and exist in Los Angeles. It is fucking mind-blowing. People who are working 3 jobs, making $50,000 a year, and they're spending like $500 a week buying Erewhon.
And they fucking hang out at Dialogue Cafe, too. Same people.
That is how we got here. Yeah.
Same people. Same exact type. Why is that? And you know what sucks about it, too, is I had conversations with my girlfriend when we were together, and she would tell me about some of her friends and their new boyfriends and what the new boyfriends were doing. They're like, oh, Haley's new boyfriend, he just booked her a trip to Cozumel, and they're staying at the Four Seasons. He bought a new car too. He bought a Mercedes-Benz S-Class. And I'm like, oh yeah, what does he do? He deals weed. Oh, okay. This guy sounds like a natural Warren Buffett in terms of his financial planning here.
But that keeping up with the Joneses shit is real, because I remember my girl and me, we were in London 2019, I'm going to say, and I was with a couple of my employees at the time, and I was banging out like, we had like a week in London after this music festival, and I think I did like 15 or 20 interviews throughout the course of like 5 days. So it's basically like going in, doing all these interviews, going home immediately after, just studying for the next day's fucking interviews. Didn't have anybody helping me with questions or anything. It was pretty insane. And there was this girl that my girl's friends with who's like a porn star. They've been talking on Instagram, whatever. They go to meet up, and the girl has like, the nicest Christian Dior bag you ever seen. They hang out the next day, boom, a different Christian Dior bag, different jewelry, different super expensive dress or whatever. And my girl's kind of like getting the feeling from the girl that like, oh, she's wondering why I'm not living this sort of lifestyle, since my girl makes a lot of fucking money off OnlyFans. She could have 18 different handbags in rotation if she wanted to, but she just doesn't really think of it like that. And then the girl came over to the Airbnb that we were staying at and took a look at it, and there was no hiding her horror. She couldn't believe, because this place was, I don't know, like, it wasn't that much. It was like the person working for me who booked it as if we were booking, a trip for a couple of, BMX hooligans or just some like random homies hanging out or whatever. And in that sense, we're doing YouTube interviews. We're not making some crazy amount of money while we're out here. We shouldn't be balling out and buying some super expensive fucking flat to stay in. But, apparently it wasn't up to snuff. And my girl still brings it up of like, I want to go to London, but I don't want to stay in a place like the one we stayed in last time.
Yeah.
The shower like wouldn't get hot and stuff. Like, it really was pretty fucking low brow when I think about it now. But I mean, would it have been fair for me to be like, oh, me and Lena are going to go stay at the fucking nicest hotel or a nice hotel, and then instead, you guys could just stay at this hostel or whatever?
No, that wouldn't have been good leadership.
That wouldn't have been good either. But that's what these rappers do, bro. They stay in a super nice spot and they make their entire team 20 rooms at a fucking shithole down the street.
Nah, you gotta take care of your posse. Otherwise, they won't dive in front of a bullet for you.
Yeah, but in that case, I feel like taking care of your posse is so expensive that, like, it's not happening. It's like not possible.
I sleep in a room with my guys on the road. We all share a room.
That's fair. See, I respect that. That was where my mentality was at the time. Is like, even the fact that we had a spot with, 3 rooms, so that me and Lena have a room, this one person has a room, the other person has a room. To me, that's kind of baller. Because on all those BMX trips over the years, we have 9 guys in the van. Oh, okay, we're going to get one hotel room, and then we're going to make sure it's like a motel or whatever, so that there's not really eyeballs on the outside of the room, so we can let people come in shifts and whatnot. Maybe not 9. Maybe if we had 9 people, we might get 2 rooms, like at least towards the later end when we started to make some money off YouTube and stuff.
9's pushing it. I used to play paintball, and we'd go to tournaments playing paintball, and we'd stuff like 9 guys in a room.
Yeah.
There'd be 4 dudes on the floor of the Motel 6.
Shout out to broke subcultures. You got to respect that, right?
Paintball, it probably isn't more degenerate than BMX, but I think it gives it a run for its money in the degeneracy.
Is there money to be made? There is money to be made in paintball.
No.
Really?
No.
Really?
There's got to be more to be. The top rider, at least Dave Mirra got a video game.
Right.
All right. There was no Ollie Lang's pro paintballer.
That was 25 years ago.
Dave Mirra?
Yeah. Like, BMX has like shrunken over the years, I believe. And I think that like Dave Mirra getting a video game probably was like one of those last great moments where it's like, and keep in mind, Dave Mirra and Matt Hoffman both had video games at the same time. But think about the video game market now is that like, I guess Tony Hawk will still have a game come out every however many years, but like, Skate, it'll take them fucking 10 years to put out a new one. Like video games are so good that they just don't feel the need to release over and over and over. If Grand Theft Auto could be so gigantic 10, 15 years after it came out, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, they got pretty heavy there for a while. Remember there was a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater coming out every year, and then it had to go to like Underground and Wasteland.
Yeah.
That got excessive. And then the cash cow was so big for insert name of guys, pro, insert sport. Remember Sean Murray's pro wakeboarding? There was a fucking wakeboarding game. Sean Murray. Wow. He was good. He was one of those guys who had sort of a quirky personality.
I used to play,
told a couple funnies.
I used to play Cool Boarders all the time before they came out with like name brand snowboarding games.
Was that in an arcade where you had to stand on the fake board?
No, I would just rent it for PlayStation or I bought it for PlayStation.
That sounds unplayable.
Yeah, it was huge at the time though.
I don't remember it.
1998, you were probably kind of still in your dad's ball sack, right?
No. I'm a 33-year-old man.
Okay, I've got 6 years on you. So I was 14 and you were 8.
And I, at that point,
a wee little baby.
I was a wee little child who was already jerking his wee like there was no tomorrow. Right. But Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 broke right around that time. And that's what got me into skateboarding. I got a Pikachu board and my wrist guards, and I went to the Maidu skate park, and I was trying to learn how to pop shove it.
Wow.
Backside, not front.
No, I don't. Backside? I'm trying to picture, like, I can imagine, like, grinding a ledge backside, but pop shove it backside is what? Like, you kick it. Like,
ironically,
never mind.
Yeah, the audience I'm sure is super engaged, but a backside pop shove it is the easiest trick in skateboarding, and front side, ironically, is when you pop the board to your backside. But you know how fucking skaters, everything needs to be confusing as fuck, so they call it a front side shove it.
Yeah, I never really got the trick names down so well. Sometimes I watch skate videos and try to like name the tricks in my head, and I feel like I could get like 30% accuracy.
That's pretty low.
I'm okay at the grinds, but okay, if someone's going fakie, everything's out the window.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden it's like, okay, I thought I understood what your stance was. Maybe this is your stance. Were you really going fakie the first shit? I don't know.
It probably wouldn't be the worst thing for the world if we held a fake X Games and it was indoors, and then when we got everybody inside, we just fucking, it turned out to be a gas chamber. Like rollerbladers, scooter riders, skaters, BMX. I'm sorry, buddy. Your subculture is not spared. Paintballers.
The scooter kids are not coming to the X Games. They know that's not a sincere invite. Because they've all been trying to get sponsored and get recognized. Because, like, think about it. If you're Red Bull and you're sponsoring mountain bikers, you're sponsoring BMXers, skateboarders, snowboarders, every mainstream different sport or alternative sport, they fuck with it, including weird ass shit. They sponsor parkour dudes. They sponsor all kinds of shit. Scootering is huge. It is very, very, I don't know if it's as huge as it used to be, but I remember like 10 years ago, it was like scary. As a BMX rider and as a skateboarder, you would go to the skate park and it would be astonishing how many kids there were. And then I would hear about it in Australia and the UK and how much fucking worse it was that you could not go to a skate park for 5 minutes without fucking having hundreds and hundreds of scooter kids everywhere. I don't know if it's still like that, but based on that standard, you would think that Red Bull would be happy to fuck with them. No, never did it. And probably wisely so, because I think a lot of skate kids, BMX kids, snowboard kids, I mean, I respect scooters, but in terms of their image, like, I don't know if they would have survived.
There's an image problem.
Yeah.
Which is, it's strange because usually people get into shit because of the image. It's like, why do people like this rock band? Probably because the guys look pretty cool playing the guitars and behind the mic. Why do you like this rapper? I'm sure he's got a sick image and his lyrics are unique. It's weird that the most popular extreme sport is the one guaranteed to get you the least amount of pussy.
But there's all these like different categories of things that people get into before they really go through puberty or before they really get into the mind state of getting pussy. You know, like, you don't become a Minecraft player to get ass.
Nowadays,
so you don't really become a Minecraft player at 21. It's the kind of thing where you kind of like have to get into it when you're young and you're not thinking about being cool or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would say that scooters are almost kind of like the same thing, but it's also like, you could skateboard, like, okay, to learn to even just skate around the skate park with a decent amount of speed, never mind to be able to throw a fucking kickflip on a quarter pipe. This is a multiple year project.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a scooter kid, like I've seen how this works in kids' heads, because it's like, oh, you want to do a fly out tail whip at the skate park? Many years of hard work if you want to be able to do that. You have to be strong.
A fly out tail whip?
That's hard, bro.
I think wait, on a bike.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant on a scooter.
No,
it's kind of the same shit.
But that's what I'm saying. On a scooter, and I don't get it because I've tried to do it and it doesn't fucking swing around the right way for me. But these kids get into it and they can fucking do they could do a tail whip like no problem. So it's just so much easier and so much more functional. But then I also think they don't go from the scooter to skateboarding because it's infinitely fucking harder on average. But the culture is so important when it comes to extreme sports. Like if you want skateboarding to really like thrive somewhere, it's like there just has to be skate shops. There has to be people who are into it. It's like it's just hard to get into it in a vacuum.
You think there's like a Dustin Dolan of scootering? There's like a 16-year-old kid. He's like a deathbed alcoholic.
I wonder because it feels like they get out of it like early 20s or something. But like when I do click on scooter videos on my Instagram Explore page or whatever, a lot of times I'll be looking at it and the kids are like, they're never grown, but they look cool. Like they do have some fucking style. They use cool music. They edit it cool. So like they've figured out how to make it look cool in so many ways. But I don't know that, but I think that they are constantly aware of the fact that the outside world does not think that this is cool in any significant way. And I wonder how big it is still.
I mean, it's just the word. What do you do professionally? I ride a scooter.
Yeah. But dude,
scooter.
Okay, so with my kid, she's got little bikes with like fucking, training wheels or whatever. Cause like people just love to bring you this shit. So we have like, 4 different bikes at the house that she could choose from on any given day.
That's what I have as your wedding gift. I'm sorry.
That's just a bike that we have to bring on the plane.
You got it. And if you fucking ever get rid of it, I'm going to be upset too.
Okay. That is good to know. But then also like, she's got like a little scooter thing. It's just so much easier. She can hold it. She puts one foot on. She's starting to be able to kind of scoot, get a little bit of speed going. Yeah. In comparison to like riding a bike without the training wheels or a skateboard, it's just like she gravitates towards the scooter because it's just like it's hard to fall. On a bike, you're gonna fall.
Yeah, and like a scooter, like all you have to do to catch air is just go. Bloop.
Yeah.
Whereas like ollieing on a skateboard is hard.
Yeah, I've never ollied a scooter, but I know that I could.
Yeah,
I know I could easily get that thing off the ground. Probably, I feel like I could ollie a fucking milk crate right now if I had some proper shoes.
It's this, not Birkenstocks.
The Birkenstocks aren't going to do it.
It's the same thing as a bike, but twice as easy.
Yeah.
It's like doing a bunny hop on a bike, but you're on the moon.
Yeah, and instead of your feet being on these pedals that are like relatively high up, it's like, no, you're basically standing on the ground.
Yeah. So like the risk is taken away.
Yeah.
This big piece of machinery is not going to fall on you.
I wonder how much of our El Toro conversation we just redid. Because remember we were talking about the El Toro scooter backflip kit?
I don't think much. I think I think my take back then was, I think I was very dismissive of scooters, but we really just got into like why scooters suck.
I wonder if we could get like a scooter dude to come in and kind of give us like a class. Like
that'd be unbelievable.
Like here are, like you have 5 exhibits to convince us that scooters are super badass. I'm already kind of convinced. I already think that they're kind of cool in a way.
I think you're too trusting, dude. I think you give your stamp of approval to lame shit. I think it starts with like the little nerdy ball game you play. Yeah. I think that's a gateway drug to liking whack shit. I like the ball game's cool, but I mean, a ball game is just a skip and a hop away from thinking razors are badass. And right now you think razor scooters are badass.
The thing about the kendama is that there are infinite things you can learn with it, and you can do it in a situation where there's almost no risk of getting hurt or anything, and you can grab it and you can play with it for 2 minutes and then just put it down and it's no big deal, which is like, that's very fundamentally different than like BMX skateboarding. You gotta go to a skate park. Snowboarding, you gotta drive to a fucking mountain.
So you look at that as an extreme sport, what you do with a little ball.
I don't want to use the word extreme, but it like
you just lumped it in with snowboarding and skateboarding.
Okay, but to me and to every other person who does kendama, it's incredibly obvious that it fills and scratches the exact same itch as BMX, skateboarding, snowboarding, etc. Because you're taking something inanimate and you're going from it just being this boring ass thing like a bike or a skateboard that is a mode of transportation, and then you're finding a way to do something on it that's very technical, precise, very difficult, and it gives you that sense of satisfaction. And like, that's what got me into kendama, is once I started to like have that feeling of learning, all of a sudden it just started to scratch the same exact thing as BMX. But with BMX, it's like, I'm old, my fucking back hurts, I don't want to get hurt, I don't have time. So I was able to just sort of mess around with that at the office or at the store back in the day and get that same exact feeling.
Damn, that was an incredible pitch, actually, for a kendama.
And that's why it doesn't surprise me when I see like skateboard dudes who genuinely get into it.
Yeah, humans, what is it that we are just so, that seems to be the point of life. We just we have something in us that just needs to progress. Hence martial arts, hence people who want to keep growing their business or get better at doing flip tricks on a skateboard or whatever lame shit you do with the kendama.
And
it's all the same.
My question, my thing that I think about a lot is, it's kind of easy to find something that you like enough to do it for the rest of your life. Wouldn't you say?
Anal.
I'll give you an example, like video games. I guarantee that I could find plenty of video games that if I got into it, and especially if I was streaming it or making content out of it some way, I could probably play them for the rest of my life. Like if I see people playing fucking Grand Theft Auto on stream sometimes, and I'm like, oh yeah, if I got into that, that could be the next 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
For sure.
San Andreas, I probably spent a good 2 years of my youth playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
See, I didn't, because I already knew myself so well at that point that I knew that if I started playing this fucking game that it would take over my life. Because I'm like that with poker, where I could easily spend the next 10 years doing nothing but playing poker. And I think it would be bad for my development as a human being. It would probably be a waste of my potential. But I do think that that opportunity would be like right there, and that I could imagine myself enjoying myself, being able to make some sort of living off of it, and, you know, feeling to some extent fulfilled. I just don't know that it's the wisest use of your time on earth. But it does feel like by the time people get to like later into their life, you know, I know guys who are in their 50s or 60s who it seems like they just go and fucking play poker every day, and that's just kind of their whole life, and they're perfectly happy with it. I don't know that that's the best use of your time when you're 39. I feel like at 39, you still need to be like working.
No, totally agree. Yeah, that's the art of life, isn't it? You got to find
someone vaping.
Yeah, it smells terrible. It's probably amazing. Sydney, dude. Yeah. It smells like a Sydney, like chick vape. No, she gives us the thumbs down. But that's
someone's vaping out.
It smells like a hookah, honestly, dude. Is there a Turkish guy in the building?
It does.
It smells like a fucking hookah, dude. We got to find the guy with the turban who likes to kill Armenians and tell him to stop.
If this room explodes, he's just got that's not even anything. That's like a roach. Okay, I don't want to get too far off track. What were you saying?
I was saying that that basically, like, the art of life is you got to find a combination of what you like to do, what has a positive financial outlook,
right?
What at your age is still plausible, meaning you and I can't be pro athletes. Like finding all of that and making those calculations, like, well, poker, maybe I could make a good living at it, but it's probably going to be capped at some level. Not the best use of my time given my skill sets. We're going to write that one off. I could be a professional scooter rider. Oh, wait, they all disappear after age of 21 and none of them get laid. Not doing that. Well, you and I have already put in, and like most of the kids making these calculations are like, Mike, you're not that young, but like, well, I had to make this calculation when I was in my early 20s, and I remember it getting really, really fucking stressful, because you got to be like, my college window is about to close. I got to go to college or not go to college. I got to figure out, am I going to grad school? Am I committing to having a bunch of fucking debt? Am I going the artistic route? In your early 20s, like, that art becomes really crucial of doing what you just described.
Yeah, definitely. And I always just think about the dudes that I was around when I was younger who were in hardcore bands and stuff.
That's a good future.
Well, yeah, there's not much of a future in it, right? But you can understand how in that moment, it feels like a great idea.
Yeah.
You go on tour, you get to hang out with a bunch of girls, you get to be this cool guy in the band, meet people all the time.
On stage.
But then I would see some people who would, like, you know, clearly still be enamored with this idea well into their 40s. And in a sense, I don't blame them, because it seems like they probably are like enjoying their life quite a bit day to day. But there also is something that kind of stands out about it to me, that it's like, are you sure that this is what you want to do? Like, I'm the dad in that moment. Like, oh, are you sure this is really what you're going to do with your fucking life? I don't know. Like,
be a bartender by day, play in a fucking speed punk band at night.
Yeah. But at least, like, there's a life associated around that. There's like, you know, if you really love because I know a lot of people who have like real jobs and then they also run a band on the side.
Yeah.
But I'm talking more like, no, like your life is pursuing this band shit, even though you know that you are not going to be financially comfortable from this, like ever. Yeah.
I respect people who are comfortable in their simple life. Like that sounds kind of dismissive, but I like the guy who, when we went out, we did a video at this off-road race in Vegas, and it's a bunch of dudes who they work at muffler shops, they are bartenders, they work for FedEx delivering packages, but then when they get off work at Friday at 5 p.m., they have the entire weekend clear-headedness. They're not stressing about work on Monday because they work for a big company, and they are just going to fucking tune up their dune buggy and fucking drive out into the desert and go and get hammered off Coors Light, not Bud Light anymore.
Right, Bud Light is gone.
Bud Light is gone for those guys.
That's what I was thinking when I went to this Alcoholics Anonymous meeting recently. I didn't tell you about this, huh?
No. Are you having a problem, buddy?
I don't have a problem, but I have a friend who, I'll tell you who it is off camera, but I have a friend who...
Basil?
No. Oh my God. I would love to go there with him. I have a friend who told me about an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting that he goes to. And so I went with him. And
did you have to make up a story?
I did. When they were going around, I did say, Adam, alcoholic.
Nice.
Like, or
wow.
Clean since New Year's 2019. That's what I said. Because when I was coming, I saw this dude that I knew, and he told me, he said, yo, when they come around and they call your name, just say that you're an alcoholic. And I'm like, okay, like that does sound easier than saying like, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm just here because I'm with this guy, right?
Yeah,
I didn't want to like take this like moral high ground in front of this whole room full of people, right?
You should have said crackhead.
But are you ready for this? Well,
the
reason why I brought that up is just because it was so fascinating to see all these sort of normal guys. And most of them, they're not saying what they do for a living or whatever, but a lot of them, they seem like the guy working at the gas station or the guy working at the Vons or whatever. And they are dealing with something that probably you would never in a million years know about, but it's like really traumatic and difficult for them. And they're going in front of a room full of people talking about it. And it was a very valuable experience. You should actually come as long as you promise not to film it with a chest camera or some shit.
My name is Danny. I suck dick for meth. Was that too much information?
Yo, you want to know the thing he told me?
What?
All right.
He sucks dick for meth.
No, he told me he also goes to sex anonymous meetings.
That's just for street cred.
Sex addiction, whatever. He told me that a guy, and he told me there's like a very weird dynamic where you go into these sex anonymous meetings or whatever, and you will have girls who are straight up whores who they're just huge sluts. They just go to the bar and they've, fuck tons of dudes or whatever.
Not a cool bar though. They go to a pool hall and they fuck truckers.
I haven't been there, so I'm not really sure exactly what the character is. But then on the other hand, in the same meeting, you have all these guys who are straight gooners who just beat off in their fucking bedroom for 10 hours a day. And the weird thing he told me is that there isn't really sexual tension between the guys and the girls, because to a lot of these guys, trying to fuck with a real life woman is almost like a waste of time when you could just be beating your meat for 6 hours a day in front of the fucking computer. And then for these girls, these guys are like largely the least appetizing sexual partners that they could ever have. But he told me that a guy got up in front of the entire class or meeting and told everybody that he fucks roadkill.
That's got to be a bit. There had to be a camera.
I wanted to ask so many more questions. I haven't actually seen him since, but like that's what he said, is that he got up in front of everybody and said like, yeah, like it's gotten really bad. The other day I fucked some roadkill. I mean, I can't even look at roadkill without wanting to fucking throw up. Can you picture this guy scraping it up and forming a fifi with the fucking dead squirrel with bones and blood and gravel? And he's just fucking like, what?
Yeah, because its vagina got crushed. You can't access the vagina.
Do you think? Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about fucking like an actual orifice, but like
you got to make a fifi.
I was thinking you just hold it around your penis, huh?
You think he wets it?
I don't know, like squirt some fucking Jergens all over it so you get a nice coat. But this guy, I'm assuming he's such a sick fuck that he's like actually, like he's He probably likes like the blood and the guts and the cutting and you might get a bone down your pee hole. Bro, I have some shit that I can tell you off camera, but this dude told me that there's like a lot of like significant comedians who run AA meetings around LA, people that you will know immediately.
I thought you were going to say roadkill fuckers like Chris D'Elia.
No,
I mean, that's just real dark secret.
You might fuck some roadkill.
He fucked a roadkill python, dude.
Imagine that was part of the accusations against any public figure. If it was just thrown in, he cheated on his wife, he raped a girl in 1992, and he fucks roadkill. It's like you would forget about all the other shit. You would just be like, well, let's just really zero in on this roadkill thing. But like, do you like I'm trying to paint the picture for you, because I'm sure that the sex ed meeting was different than the AA meeting that I went to, where, you know, it's probably like 50 dudes. Every single dude is drinking black coffee out of the same exact fucking white cup. Mm-hmm. And I'm just picturing if it had been a sex ed meeting and someone had gotten up and actually, not sex ed, but sex addicts, and had actually just said, I fuck roadkill. Do you think you would have it in you to sit there and not laugh? And a whole room full of people are going to not laugh?
Like that guy, that might have been Vitaly making a comeback. Like that might have been a YouTuber, and there might have been somebody with a hidden cam.
The person who told me this would definitely know Vitaly if he was actually the one who did
it wasn't
so,
Vitaly. Maybe he was an up-and-comer who's motivated.
Oh, dude, but fucking I still just can't get over it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, part of me wants to get deeper into going to these fucking meetings because it is so fascinating. But then also part of me feels
Edward
like
Norton from Fight Club.
Yeah, right. Yeah. To get completely hooked on it.
Yeah.
No, because that was my entire prior knowledge of these meetings was just like, oh, I seen Fight Club, so I figure I know what this is like. Fight Club is like a huge room, and then there's just like 10 chairs, and it's dark, and like people are just sitting around in a circle talking to each other. This was different. It's like people going up and doing their little speech. But the one I went to was all guys.
Yeah.
This is why you got to go to it, because you have to become knowledgeable about all the different segments of this shit.
Yeah.
All guys, no women. So then people started telling me during the break where everybody goes and smokes cigarettes. That's another reason I enjoyed it, is because I got to smoke a cigarette. But they're telling me that like
you could have stayed home and smoked a cigarette.
I could, but I would never. You know, I would never get a cigarette on my own. But they're, oh my God, I wish people in my neighborhood smoked cigarettes so I could just walk over and try to give them $1.
You have a problem, dude. You should go to Tobacco Anonymous.
I refuse to buy them. I see them and I want one. But they told me that the meetings are so different in like Silver Lake and shit, because it'll be guys and girls.
Yeah.
Everyone's a fucking hipster.
Yeah.
So it's just like a weird ass vibe. My meeting had like enough old dudes, like genuinely 60, 70, 50 years old, whatever, that then you have like a handful of guys who are maybe like, you know, late 20s or like mid 30s or whatever. So like you might recognize, I kind of recognized a bunch of people, but I didn't like really remember where I knew him from or whatever. I'm like, is this some guy who was like coming to the store back in the day and now he's an alcoholic?
That guy was fucking a turkey out on the 205. I drove by him. I swear.
Roadkill turkey. But I don't know. Yeah, because he invited me to another meeting, and I guess I'm going to go. And I'm just
dude, maybe this is genius. Maybe you are going to get so deep into the human psyche that you're going to become like the greatest podcaster of all time. But I'm worried that you're going to join like a neo-fascist organization and you're going to start blowing up Starbucks.
I would say like a large percentage of the dudes there were Mexican. So like, it's not like an Aryan Brotherhood fucking Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, which ABAA, that would be kind of, have a nice acronym at least. But.
I guess there were some brothers in Fight Club. There were black guys in Fight Club, because that's like the point of Fight Club is Edward Norton. It's been a while since I've like looked up the themes of it, but Edward Norton's first life was completely like unconscionable as far as like living that lifestyle, like the fucking, you know, the blue paisley tie, going into work at a car company, running the formula, drinking lattes. But then they find a middle ground where they find peace and relief in fighting. But then Tyler Durden, his alter ego, takes it too far in the other direction, where they are like Nazi Germany and they all have their heads shaved and they all look alike. And the conformity becomes the same on the other end of the spectrum too, where instead of filing these papers, they have to go destroy a piece of corporate art and a coffee bar without asking any questions.
You know about Sneeko, right?
Yeah.
Sneeko the other day posted a picture and it got so insanely ratioed. It had like 5,000 quote tweets and like 500 likes, which, you know, that's not how tweets are supposed to look.
Yeah.
You know, like something really weird must be going on. If a tweet has like a 1,000 likes, maybe on average it has like, you know, 20 quote tweets or something, because the quote tweets are where you get dissed.
Yeah.
And so I saw this picture of Sneeko, And, you know, I've hung out with Sneeko multiple times, but it seems like he's kind of gone a little bit more far right as time has gone by, and I'm not sure exactly where he stands.
He's probably leaned into it now, too.
At this point, he's so mega canceled by the media and stuff that I feel like there's part of him that wants to kind of lean into it. And so there's been a bunch of different photos of him with these groups of guys, and they're not all white because Sneeko's like Cuban or some shit, which we've seen with the Proud Boys that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But these dudes all have the same haircut. They're all wearing like a tight black shirt. They all kind of look like they could be skinheads or like some sort of fascist group or some shit.
Some sort of Project Mayhem Fight Club.
But he posted one where he tagged everybody, and I'm looking at all the different guys and like just clicking on their pages, just fully expecting them to be like low-key Nazis. And they're all like business finance dudes who are like basically like trying to sell you on some course or teach you how to get chicks. And like I saw one of the guys, like his pinned tweet was just a video of him giving like, you know, sex advice, I guess, and saying like, hey, bruv, if you want a girl to fuck with you, this is what you do. As soon as you get around her, you just pull your meat out. You just show her your meat. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm really thinking that I'm going to see some like crazy fascist shit. And then he's just giving like bad dating advice. And I'm just kind of astonished.
Was that verbatim what the quote tweet said?
Bro, go to Sneeko's Twitter and scroll down for a little bit, and you're going to be able to find this. No problem. Maybe we could bring it up on the screen. Can you turn?
Hey, Sydney, thumbs up or if you like that strategy. An Australian guy just pulls out his mate.
Listen, when you see the cunt, you just got to pull out the old snakey and introduce her.
Bro, to be fair, these guys like are not that popular. You know, they got like 20K, 30K on Twitter, whatever it might be.
Should I come in here and debate John Anthony lifestyle?
I'm trying to find this right now so I can show you.
I want to hear
fucking guy.
I want to hear a cock out guy debate John Anthony lifestyle, dude.
Oh my god, where is it? Did he take it down? I feel like I'm like scrolling through the entire fucking year. So many of the things that Sneeko retweets end up with the fucking content Twitter notes correction.
Oh, the community notes.
Wow, maybe he realized that he didn't like these guys so much, because I feel like now I'm looking at him at some boxing match where he got a photo with Trump and shit, and that. Look at Sneeko just tweeting the Confederate flag.
No context?
No context.
Yeah, he's leaning into it, dude. He's just fucking around.
All the way
he's canceled.
Wow, this makes me very concerned. Like, why I can't find this. Maybe he ended up having second thoughts. I could look through his likes, but I feel like it's not worth it at this point. But that video is out there, and I'm going to find it, and I'm going to show you.
It sounds amazing. Like, I might just buy that guy's course to support him.
Yeah, there was part of me that was
legitimately
like,
his advice.
Part of me was like, I have to make content about this. Like, I have to talk about this. This guy, like, fucking, the fact that this is a type of dude now is pretty jarring. Oh man, did you see this one? This fucking this sort of a right-wing group. I guess this is what Nazis look like now. They all have the red shirt with the black fucking hood over their head.
Yeah, I did.
What is that?
I didn't know what that was. Yeah, just
and then they got this one bald guy with like a fucking big tattoo on the side of his head.
Yeah. It was almost. I don't know who those guys are, what they do. The bald ringleader is interesting. The guy who has no anxiety about revealing his identity.
Yeah.
But you know, like MSNBC and CNN are just like, oh, fuck, yes. Like, this is what we need.
Right, because it would be so entertaining for us to like have like all kinds of new fancy white supremacists to like, you know, talk about and look at and everything. But it doesn't feel like it really is going to happen, because like the Richard Spencer thing happened like 2016. And then who have you really seen come out that is like popular for that seems to have gained any real fan base that like embraces those kind of ideas? It kind of feels like it's done. It's not
Who's
coming
Proud
back.
Boys 2.0?
I don't know. The Proud Boys are just kind of still struggling along. I am not going to be able. I'm 4 days back.
But yeah, I know what you're saying, though. We need, like, hopefully before this election, like, I'm down. Like, Antifa needs a nemesis, dude. Like, Antifa needs to be clashing in the streets with more. Like, I definitely want to see the guy with the suit and the bald head holding some sort of, like, fantastic weapon.
Oh, my God, I found it. Yes.
You found the guy talking about pulling his cock out?
His name is, if anybody wants to see this, his name is, he's from London. His @name is Hose and Cash, owner of the best group in the industry. Learn how we make 30K a month. Okay, listen.
Guys, most of you listen to your guru, your game guru. And none of the fucking gurus that teach game tell you this. Instantly whip your dick out, bro. If your lips on her, instantly whip it out. If you're talking to her, just whip it out, bro. Slap it on your hand. slap it. And then she'll get wet. Easy as, bro. You don't need to fucking spit game, talk bullshit. Don't need to, bro. Just whip it out, bro. Whip your dick out. Trust me, bruv.
Legend, dude.
Like,
Legend.
this is
Wait,
his
Cash
pinned
and
tweet.
Hose? I'm following him, dude. I'm following
Hose
Cash.
and Cash.
Excuse me, dude.
But like, look at the picture right here. Like, do you blame me for like assuming that this was like a new school like fascist group that Sneeko was hanging out with?
I don't blame you. Hose and Cash, is it an and sign or is it an and spelled out?
Hose and Cash. And yes, I completely agree that you should go to England and do a video and see what this guy's life is
Fucking
like.
legend, dude.
But they're all gurus.
I'm retweeting this.
Mr.
I'm
Overpaid.
retweeting this, dude.
Yeah. Okay. One of the other guys, 71,000 followers. Mr. Overpaid. His pinned tweet. 3 years ago, I got kicked out of university. Today, I just picked up my 5th supercar, a McLaren 720S. Take risks. So all these guys are like, basically like selling you on, every single one of them. This other guy, his pinned tweet, how to make $15,000 a month profit with no job in America. Like, this is such a strange new type of dude. And apparently they're not Nazis. They're just like really concerned with making money. I don't know.
Yeah, they share that in common with the Jews, actually.
Right.
Like the Jews, I mean, they like making 15 grand a month too.
I mean, I guess you can only obsess over the Jews for so long before you start to take notes from them, and you're like, well, maybe I'll just create a course.
Yeah, yeah. And eventually, like somewhere on the path to business, you're probably going to meet a Jew who you're like, fuck, I respect this guy. Like, oh my God, like I want to see him in a gas chamber, but his business advice is so sound. Like even the most ardent of Nazi, if they're into hustle culture, they're going to be like, I want this guy to mentor me.
Oh, hustle culture is the great equalizer. You can't be racist once you get into hustle culture.
You can't.
No.
Dude, you're so right.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, if you go to a Grant Cardone 10X seminar, there are going to be people, they're going to be bruvs of all stripes there.
Yeah.
Fucking on the dais. Like Kevin Hart
You
goes.
think Grant Cardone's got it in him to say no to some fucking dude's money just because he's of a different race? Hell no. You're taking every last dollar that you can. That's part of the ethos. Like racist, it's like resentment culture. It's like you have something that you resent, that you're angry about.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to get past that. It's kind of hard to like work with others once you have that built into your head, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. You're fucking right though, dude. Hustle culture is so universal.
Yeah.
Like Gary Vee, like the fucking lord of hustle culture, is Jewish. How you cannot be an anti-Semite if you're into making skrill.
That's a fact.
Damn, dude.
I'm so glad I introduced you to Hose and Cash.
Dude, I am so happy I follow that guy. I retweeted that tweet instantly, dude.
I wonder what people will read into that, because the Danny Mullen persona is such that maybe they'll just think that you genuinely are into it.
In 2019, like it would be pretty hard to tell me apart from that guy.
Yeah.
In terms of like the things I would say while blacked out in videos.
Whip your meat out, bruv.
Yeah, like basically, I mean, I would literally. I had a video in 2018 called "Show Us Your Penis," where I just went around San Diego County trying to entice people to pull their fucking meat out, bruv. Like that's literally what the video was.
Wow.
So yeah, that guy is like basically me back in the day.
No, it reminds me, like that is like a joke that I would have really gotten into and made when I was in high school. Cause like, and that was the other weird thing. I haven't fully looked into it, but they were saying that Steven Crowder like was showing his employees his balls a lot.
That's funny. Like dude,
Maybe dick too. Like genitalia, I think was the word used.
my buddy Leo, dude, like that's his thing is he'll just like flash our cameraman Nico when we're on the road together.
Really?
Yeah, because Leo's got like a big uncircumcised Italian fucking meat hammer.
Does he?
And he'll like, it's a good dangler. It looks really good a limp. I'm sure it's good hard too, but like I like to think he chubs it up before he ever pulls it out.
Yeah.
But he'll come out of the shower and be like, hey Nico, you don't love this shit, dude. And just make our cameraman look at it.
That was such a standard joke for me when I was young, and now it just feels so inappropriate. Just like tricking people to look at your dick.
Since I don't really have a position of power here. Like if I flash, Mike a fucking testy every now and then, would you have a problem with that?
Yeah, that's gonna be an issue.
I don't think you wouldn't squeal on me, would you?
It's all about the squealing. I don't think it would make him uncomfortable. I actually think he would probably be pretty stoked. But
I think it would too.
The lawsuit, I just feel like it would probably sound a lot different in context.
I feel like I am like an independent contractor. I don't think him suing me would affect you.
Right.
I think it would be good.
I do feel like you might have both signed paperwork that would make it difficult to sue for like seeing a ball.
I saw to it that I didn't sign anything.
Oh.
So you better not try anything with me. Actually, just me looking at your plug talk. Actually, this is going to be tough because I like passed you an iPad on our second episode of my erect cock, just full screen.
And I will be using that for it as well, for sure. Oh my God. Who was the porn star that we were around though, where I started telling her like, yeah, he does DP and shit. And she was just like, oh, like, because as a porn star, you have never met anybody who's done DP off camera your entire life. For the most part, like 99% of civilians will never do DP. And for the record, when I say DP, I mean 2 dicks in the same vagina.
That's double vaginal. That's DV.
Well, that's still DP for the most part.
DP traditional, because I'm a connoisseur, motherfucker. Okay. DP is pussy and asshole, and then double vag is both in the vagina. Double vag is more extreme, way more extreme.
Because the guy's dick has to touch the other guy's dick.
Yes. Like 30 to 40% of your friction is coming from the underside of your buddy's schlong.
Right. And so I talk to dudes, male porn stars who do it, and it's like a lot of times they don't want to admit that they do it. They never will admit that they like it. Well, yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty that will admit they like it. But for the most part, it seems like they don't want to talk about liking it.
It's kind of hot because it is like the most depraved thing you could fucking do. And it's also like a party atmosphere. So it's sort of fun. And then
if you told me, like, listen, okay, you're sitting there, girl gets on top of you, she's fucking your dick with her vagina, and then I get behind and I put my dick in her ass. I'm open to the idea that that is not gay, even though our legs would almost certainly make contact.
Nuts as well.
Yeah. But that is so much less gay than both of our dicks touching in a vagina. That to me, it's like, you could do it on camera for porn, and I get it. It's a job. It is what it is. If you do that in your spare time, which you have, so you are a gay man. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around. I don't think I would ever do it. Maybe if I was a full-time porn guy and this was like my real livelihood,
yeah,
maybe I would do it just because that's the job. But I don't know. There's something about that just doesn't sit right with me.
So it was at a time in my life where I had almost nothing else going on. And my entire self-worth was basically dependent on like how successful I was at the bar that night.
Yeah.
And eventually you run out of ladder. Like there's no more levels to climb. Like your fucking toy with the ball, the Kandala or whatever. Like I was on the last trick. Like I was on the fucking Nollie 360 pressure flip, and we'd already done double penetration. We'd already hooked up with plenty of hot girls. We needed to do something before I went back to my job as a busboy on Sunday morning that would make me feel alive. And at that point, feeling the underside of my buddy's dick was like the only thing left. So we fucking went for it, dude.
It's just crazy too, because you know that it's going to be way tighter than the average vagina, because there's something else in there taking up space. So it's probably going to feel really fucking good. You're going to love it. It's going to feel way better than a regular pussy. But guess what? It's gay.
Yeah.
Your homie's in there too. Yeah. I don't know. Here's a mental image of something that I hope you and I never do. Like I was filming a plug talk.
Wedding night.
Yeah. I'm just chilling. I'm just hanging out. And I'm watching a chick get fucked by 2 dudes on set of plug talk, whatever. And then, they've done enough fucking, and so it's time for them to nut on her face or whatever. She's on her knees, and they're kind of like going back and forth, jerking off, and you could see them like beating their meat, looking down at their dick, looking each other in the eyes, because they want to come at the same time.
That'd be really hard, dude.
Yo, wouldn't that be
That'd
like?
be so
I
hard.
never even thought about it until that moment of like, holy shit! Like I never even thought about having to coordinate my nut.
Really tough, dude.
That's some expert level shit.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be, because when you want to time your nut from a chick and you have her full attention, you can be like, can I bang you a little bit more from behind? I like that. Or can you suck my dick a little more, lick my balls? But she is unavailable if she's just trying to be like, oh, yeah, oh. Like, but you can't get what you need.
She's sitting there trying to look hot, trying to look ready, trying to be like in the zone for it. So she's not, like all the things you would normally do to like get in the zone to finish, like bend over, let me fuck you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Did you just black out my entire speech?
No, I heard what you said, but like, did I just like reiterate it too much?
A little bit. You just had like 5-second amnesia.
I don't blame
maybe
because
10.
I fucking hate people that do that shit too. No,
I'm with you. Like she is no longer of use to you.
Yeah.
And like you are on your own. You and some other fucking dude with a huge cock are on your own to sync watches.
Yeah.
Without her help. Totally agree.
Just stare each other in the eye.
Yeah. That would get me off
That's not going to help me.
the quickest. I might be like, hey, dude, can I,
Anyway,
hey,
my-
bruv, can I slide a finger up your butt?
Final observation that I want to say is that through listen, because that's around the same time that I listened to that Howie Mandel Joe Rogan episode, I listened to some other fucking Joe Rogan episode, which was actually, it's weird when you listen to his like non-hits. Because, like, if there's something really amazing on Rogan, it's probably going to get clipped for YouTube. So you might see the clip. Maybe Joe Rogan clips it for his own channel, whatever. I listened to one that was a guy who was in, I think, Soundgarden and Nirvana, and then he left and joined the military. So sounded interesting enough for me to click on. In reality, this guy's probably like one of the slowest talkers I've ever seen in a fucking Joe Rogan conversation. And it was fucking weird to see Joe Rogan like doing what I feel like I've had to do a million times in interviews, which is like the person's not talking enough, so you really have to go hard to try to get the story out of them. And this guy's not necessarily the best communicator. I also noticed by the end of the Howie Mandel thing, I started to like notice a tiny 5-10% of them not really hitting it off. Which is like, you have to watch the full Joe Rogan episode and really be paying attention to start to pick up on it. Yeah. But there was a thing that was happening where Joe would start talking about I can't remember what it was, but it was like some crazy thing that's happened in history, or like, this thing happened. And as soon as Joe starts to get into the details of this thing that he wants to talk about, Howie kind of goes to like, yeah, dude, when shit like that happens, it's crazy. Shit like that is crazy. And Joe's kind of like, yeah, well, like, what about this specific thing? Like, and because I think that there's a thing that happens to some people, and I'm not necessarily putting this on Howie Mandel, but I've seen it happen a lot on camera where if someone starts talking about something that they're really interested in and passionate about, but you have nothing to offer, it can kind of put you in an awkward position because everybody wants to seem smart on camera on the podcast. Everybody wants to seem engaged. A lot of times people are not really comfortable being like the student in that situation. They want to have something to offer. And when it's Joe Rogan just like telling you everything about this thing and you can't necessarily like get on board with it, I felt like I saw a little bit of like uncomfortability coming through with Howie in that moment, and Joe feeling like a tiny thread of frustration. Yeah, because he wants to really tell you all about this thing. Yeah, and Howie was kind of starting to like overgeneralize it. And I would love if the comments would watch this and let me know if I was tripping about perceiving this.
This is the most you can get out of this episode. The thing you most want is people to be like, Adam's fucking right about Howie tuning out.
Like 2 hours into a podcast.
That was why we gathered here today, is so you can have that confirmed.
Well, given that we have very little to speak of in terms of lives, it's kind of like, oh, well, we have to watch content and then communicate about it.
I feel like this was a pretty far-reaching podcast today. I feel like we did a pretty good job.
I think we did a good job.
I mean, we talked about a racially charged interaction I had in this building earlier.
Right, yeah.
We always got pussy in common. We always, you and I would be astounded if any other podcast duo out there, we've got a pretty high body count, probably 4 podcast duos. So we can talk about some pretty profane sexual acts, especially you, Mr. Pornography, you dirty dog.
I'm running off fumes right now because I just realized I haven't eaten food since 8:30 a.m.
Well, you need it, dude.
It's almost 4.
I want that waistline real trim in your tuxedo.
Well, the suit has already been purchased, so I'm not going to be able to switch it up. So if it is looking a little big, if I lose a ton of weight over the course of the next 10 days or so, not my fault.
Yeah, I got a new suit that I'm wearing too. I'm gonna be looking good, dude. I'm gonna fucking pull my fucking worm out, bro.
What are you gonna do in Italy
ceremony
in general? Do you have any plans for Italy?
Fucking, I don't know, abduct a boy at the Vatican and treat him like the priests treat him.
How many days are you gonna be around for?
I think like the whole week, dude. I'm chilling. Yeah, I've got it planned. I've got some videos what we talked about earlier stacked up. So I've got time to write future videos that are like pretty involved. And I'm probably just going to do like a GoPro selfie video while we're in fucking Florence.
I like it.
I could do something with the David, dude. Pull my cock out on the David.
Harass all of the sweet old Armenian ladies that will be there, her family.
Yes, I'll absolutely. Or maybe sleep with one of them if they'll have me.
Wow, I love that idea.
Do you?
I feel like they're all wifed up or spoken for the most part.
What if I ruined one of Lena's relatives' marriage?
Yeah, I could get into that.
Okay. As long as it like didn't affect your life directly. If it was like her cousin's uncle's marriage, like that's greenlit, right?
I'm trying to think of any of the relationships that her family are in. If my relationship to the family could sustain you ruining one of those relationships.
And then vlogging it. I ruined an Armenian marriage.
And it clearly being a joke.
Yeah, to me.
Yeah.
But not to the husband who got cheated on.
No, the husband's fucked.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
Sledgelords, we out.